All right, welcome, everyone. It's your brother Bolo VNR. I've been invited by Mr. Patterson to have a discussion about, the UIC, the manifesto, and how we can move forward here in Jamaica. You know, with them at the head of it, how that would look. I am a content creator. I'm a quick little story about me. I'm from a very Christian home. My mother and father, both of them are Christians. They believe in God, Jesus Christ. So I came up in a very stern home. So I'm a no nonsense type of person, right? And where I see, things that need to be called out, I'm going to call it out. Whether it's the politician, it doesn't really matter. And that's how I ended up on YouTube. I was encouraged by people to start a channel because I used to go on platforms and share my views. How did we get here though? Mr. Patterson's team had reached out to me after I did a reaction to his manifesto, and I went through it in its entirety and analyzed it based on my own understanding. So what we're here to do right now is to actually go a little deeper. I just see a deep dive into that. All right. So we're now waiting on Mr. Patterson to before I do that, I did many jobs. I was a chef, I was a bartender, but working for people just never panned out for me. So eventually, after the last job I did for somebody I was a security. I am now a merchandiser, right? So I'm an entrepreneur. And I think it's the best way for me. I can't tell anybody else, but I believe it's quite liberating, and it's best to get the full value of whatever it is that you're actually putting in, the time and the effort. So if you need to get more value, you probably need to put in a little bit more time and a little bit more effort and strategy to maximize your potential. So it's all about self-accountability. And that's why I'm so hard on government officials, because I'm hard on myself. Yeah, so without any further ado, I think Mr. Patterson should be joining us anytime now. And I go on mute. Mr. Patterson, you there? Hope they could have heard me. See, Mr. Patterson is joining us. Not seeing you, not hearing you on my end, Mr. Patterson. I'm not sure what is actually happening. Ike Love salute, VMAX salute, Juliet salute, Patricia Bird salute. Welcome, everybody in the chat. Remember to like and share the content. Ike Love VMAC, thank y'all for showing up and showing your support. Those are two. There's a couple of my my supporters right there in the chat. I'm still not hearing Mr. Patterson. Even on my YouTube that I'm looking at, he is frozen. So there seems to be some type of technical difficulties. But we'll get through it. Give him a second. Yes, I think this conversation is very, very necessary. I want to give a little bit of credit to Mr. Patterson for even seeking me out to have the conversation. I can be very transparent and let you know that he is not looking for any softball questions from me. He really wants me to, take the glove off and really ask what I want to ask. You get me? So I have to give him credit on that. Scotty, big up. Bless up yourself. Respect. And big up to all well-thinking Jamaicans. Big up to all independent thinking Jamaicans. While I'm here, I would like to say I would encourage all of us to come out of the dual politics mindset Philly Yardy vibes, big up yourself, my general. I want us to get out of the mindset of having the orange and the green. I want to encourage you guys to move away from the conferences. And if you're even going to go to the conferences, go in neutral colors. So when you're going home, you're not targeted. I think we're living in a very, very dangerous time politically right now. And it's been dangerous for a very, very long time. But whether you're orange or green, I would encourage you guys to really, really protect yourself in that regard. If you don't have to go to these conferences, tan ayayad. All right, as Mr. Andrew Wilson would say, tan ayayad. That's one time for you to tan ayayad. All right, still waiting on Mr. Patterson to join us. You know, the internet has been giving some trouble lately, so please be patient, right? Please be patient. But welcome everybody, man. Let me know where you guys are from. Where are you guys from? That's in the chat right now. Drop your name or where you're watching from, and yeah, drop your flag. Rep where you're watching from, and shout out to the platform. All right, big shout out to the platform. I really appreciate the opportunity. You get me? Oh, and I'm not so much of a young man. I'm around. I'm in my late 30s. I'm single. I don't have any kids. One of the reasons why is, you know, there's 4 things that I've learned that you control in life, and I'm very big on accountability. The conferences I'm talking, you know how they have these conferences for the PNP and the JLP to rally people around electing either one. I'm saying, you guys that partake in these conferences, that run with the pot pan the pan and all of this and wearing the colors, whatever percentage of you that is in Jamaica, I don't know if everybody is still doing that, but I would encourage you guys, Monica and Mr. Richards, I would encourage you guys to wear neutral colors if you're going to go, and I would encourage you not to go, but I cannot tell you what to do. So I'm saying, if you're going to go, wear neutral colors. Don't wear black and white. So when you're leaving these events, you're not targeted. Not saying that while they're at the event, they can't be targeted, you know. Not saying that. But, you know, I look at these 2 political parties and the way they've operated since their inception. Pretty much like since the gangs came into play and guns was given to people in the ghetto to go and pow that one and pow that side. Yeah, it has gone left since then, and we have not recovered. Culturally, we have not recovered. It's been that way. That seed has been planted. The fruit is large, and I'm telling you, the tree is large and the fruit big. So, you understand? The fruit well ripe. All right, so I would move away from the colors. You know, I'm not saying you cannot state a political view, but even, like I said, that is dangerous in this time that we're in right now, especially if you're really paying attention to the stuff that is going on and reading between the lines. Very, very dangerous. Every time you criticize one political party, they say that you're the other side. I find that very hilarious, and it's happened to me several times. I've questioned Mr. Mark Golding on my platform. I've questioned Mr. Andrew Wilson even more, because, you know, they're the one in power and they have a larger responsibility. And plus, you know, when you have made promises and then you don't fulfill those promises, you're supposed to get critiqued. Even by Mr. Andrew on his own admission, he told us that all well-thinking Jamaicans should hold the government feet to the fire. when he was not in power. So he's in power now. What has changed? Nothing should be. So let's hold their feet to the fire. Point blank, period, right? If you're saying this and you're doing that, now you should face critique and you should be questioned. But it seems like our government officials is shying away from accountability and transparency, like declaring the assets and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot going on in Jamaica. I was never disinvolved in politics. I was never really deep diving into the intricacies of it at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, I believe we're at a critical stage right now, politically. I'm talking about around the globe. And whoever is in office next will determine a lot, good or bad. And I'm talking it can get really bad. So the fight is serious. We are, in my opinion, a lot of people are not religious, but I think the devil is more active in politics now more than ever. More than ever. All right. And one of the big questions I wanted to ask Mr. Patterson is his position on a certain thing. I cannot wait for him to get up here. Holding down the man himself. Yes, Mr. Patterson.
We're having a very big rain over here.
Oh Lord.
So my main
Internet.
internet is down. So actually
Mm-hmm.
I have to come on to this mobile phone. Hope you can
Right.
hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
It's okay. It's okay. All right, the guys in the chat, can you hear him clearly? Because you are the ones that are gonna be affected the most.
I have
Because
a
I
lot
have
of
this.
rain over here. Lot of
You
rain.
kind of go in and out. You know how that you go in and out. Yes, yeah. It fades
Let me see if
sometimes.
maybe I can get a headset as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
um yeah, so 1 second.
yeah. Yes. So guys, I was of the opinion that it doesn't matter who wins. I'm still going to live my life and do what I need to do to reach my goal. But when reality smacks you in the face and you see that these politicians have so much power to affect your life, where no matter how you try to reach to the point where you want to go legally, and I stress that word legally, um, you have all of these policies and all these things that affect you from really tapping into your earning potential. You know what I mean? So policies are important. Policies are very, very important. So I would say vote policy and not party. Vote policy and not personality. Not because you like this person. I don't have to like Mr. Patterson. I don't have to like Mr. Mark Golden. I don't have to like Mr. Andrew Holness. If he was coming with the right policies, he should be the person you vote for. If his actions are benefiting the collective of the Jamaican people, right? Not just a few, everybody. You should vote for that individual. Point blank period. Right? But if you really look at the grand scheme of things and what was promised and what is actually happening, I don't care what you're talking about. Crime, the healthcare system, the roads, access to water, basic necessities. I mean, look at what happened with Beryl. Listen, man, I could go on and on and on. And this is one of the things I want to encourage you guys. Oh, you sound better.
I hope. Can you hear me now?
Man, you loud.
Oh, okay. All right. So I can hear you a little better now. So let's see if we can get the show on the road. Sorry
Yes.
for the technical challenges. But let's
Yeah, man.
go.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
So, were you able to hear me the whole time?
No, I didn't hear anything. I was busy trying to get connection.
Well, I introduced myself. I kind of went off on a spill, about the politics and what's happening in the country.
Yeah.
I was encouraging the people to really uh, let go of the colors and literally,
Hmm.
like, if you're going to these conferences for whatever reason, wear neutral colors. It's a
Okay.
very dangerous time right now, and you could be targeted because you have an affiliation to a certain party. So yeah,
Uh,
but
Understood.
yeah, man, that's all pretty much in a nutshell.
All right. So what questions do you have for me today now concerning the UIC, our manifesto, our
Yeah,
plans for Jamaica?
yeah. My first question is, what motivated you and your team to reach out to me to even have this conversation?
Well, I think we saw where you, or I saw a video of you talking about the UIC's manifesto, and I took the time to listen to your point by point reading of the manifesto and your impression of it. And I thought it would be a good idea to have you on a call where I am live and direct and can speak to any questions you might have and to help your listeners and ours to hear, straight from the horse's mouth exactly what the UIC is about and to just answer any questions you might have.
All right, perfect. So I hear you mention, if I'm not mistaken, an inclusive, creating an inclusive environment here in Jamaica. Uh,
Mhm.
my question to that inclusivity, in terms of the Samoa agreement and what it would mean, what is your position on that particular document, and
Okay.
what is your understanding of it and how it would affect our culture as Jamaicans?
Well, the bottom line is this: Jamaica exists in a global environment where there are some people who think that they know what is best for everyone. There are some people who think that they need to control everyone. There are some people who think that they must use international organization and international treaties to control other people to achieve their objectives. Whether those objectives are social or economic, they use politics and policy and the power of and the power of big business to try to direct our lives
You,
as citizens.
you
The
just cut out,
UIC, on the other hand,
Mr. Patterson. You just cut out
okay,
at the
I
first
cut out.
part where you said the power of the first
Okay,
power. Yeah.
all right. I don't remember where that was, but I will say this. I will say this.
Mhm.
The UIC understands that we're in a global environment where some people want to control everybody. Some people want to dictate what you eat, what you drink, what you wear, what you can or cannot say. They want to even determine what goes into your body in terms of medication and so on. The UIC's position is that each and every one of us are sovereign individuals. When you're sovereign, it means you have control over you, your mind, your body, your personal choices, personal decisions, things affecting you. We do not believe that anybody, not even your local government, has dominion over you. So we have to be very careful now to understand the different roles. So you have the role of the individual, you have the role of a national government, and then you have the role of any international bodies or international organizations. The Samoa Agreement, in my opinion, seeks to give to unelected persons who are running these international organizations power and authority to usurp our collective sovereignty as a country and our individual sovereignty as persons. The UIC exists as a political movement and a political party with one primary purpose, and that is to protect the sovereignty of every Jamaican and the sovereignty of Jamaica. That is our primary objective. And within that sovereignty, we want to achieve some basic things, such as creating a safe environment for every person, a clean environment for all of us to enjoy and to live and operate in, and the orderly environment which allows us to be very productive and by extension very prosperous.
All right, so I appreciate that because sovereignty, freedom overall in itself is definitely very, very important to me. So I would endorse any leader that is not only an advocate but somebody that's going to fight to maintain those sovereignties and those freedoms, especially against the cooperation of the world. My next question would be, I find it very interesting that the UIC does not accept any donations or grants from private entities. What was the reasoning behind that decision? I find it very unique compared to the other main political parties in Jamaica. Why was that so important?
Well, it's not that we don't accept any. It's just that we have an awareness of a serious problem.
Okay.
And first, let me say this: we are open to accepting donations from anybody who will not seek to change our mission, our vision, and our values. So if you're coming to donate to us from wherever you're coming from, you must be committed to the vision, the mission, and the values of the UIC. Now, big corporations in Jamaica have proven themselves to be very committed to two colonial parties that have been doing a great disservice to the Jamaican people for the last 80 years. We understand why they do this. When they give monies to these organizations, they become proxies or agents of those other bodies. So for example, the PSOJ, which is the largest conglomerate of big business in Jamaica, their interest is being carried out by the two colonial parties. So they give them millions and millions of dollars every year so that the laws and regulations that are passed and are enforced are done so to further their objectives as opposed to the objectives of the ordinary, regular Jamaican citizens. If we were to do like the other two colonial parties and simply take monies from these bodies, we would be no different from them because we would become an agent of the PSOJ oligarchs and would not be working for the Jamaican people. So what we have done is to say to the Jamaican people, we need to rise up and understand the game. The game is those who fund the party control the party. The PSOJ oligarchs and the colonial masters, they fund and control the two colonial parties. There's no sense in having a third party that follows the same model because it means then you just have three parties that are controlled by the PSOJ oligarchs and the colonial masters. So the UIC made the decision that our funding must come from the people. That's the 3 million Jamaicans at home and the 4 million Jamaicans abroad. And if we can build a membership of say 500,000 Jamaicans giving just 1,000 Jamaican dollars or 10 US dollars a month, we will have the financial means to lead a massive ballot box revolution that will transform Jamaica from a colonial state that still follows colonial laws that are controlled by two colonial parties that are funded and controlled by the PSOJ oligarchs. We can replace that system with a government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people.
You touched on two things there. So I want to go into the situation with the UIC in terms of there was some type of infighting in the UIC at some point. There was some disagreements with there was some people that were running with you, and they were very loud about it. And then I don't know what happened, and now they're not rolling with you anymore. So my question is, what do you say to people that look at that situation and throw you guys out of the race because you had that disruption in the unity within your camp?
Yeah, well, it really, anybody who sees that situation of, let's call it infighting, backstabbing, attempt at disunity, anybody who sees that and then throws the UIC away is one of two persons. Either they are naive or they never really were a part of the vision in the first place. So the naive ones are those who think that a political movement is going to come about and disrupt the existing order, and it's not going to be attacked from within and without. We have a lot of history. It has been done to Marcus Garvey before. It was done to Malcolm X before. It was done to Martin Luther King before. It was done to even Shaka Zulu. Right? So if you look at the history of revolutions, the revolutionaries always have to be watching their backs, because the very people who power with you, who push up beside you, are oftentimes agents of your enemies. So they join you to destroy you. And so they have attempted to destroy the UIC from within. Now you have some people who are just misled. So let's say you have a person who is not very well mentally developed. When they see a little disturbance, they get turned off. They say, oh, see, it can't be from God because it's not running smoothly. So they believe in an angel of God coming down in perfect white, there must be no problems, no disturbance. There must just be a lot of money, a lot of activities, everything must be perfect, because they don't understand that life is not a bed of roses. If you want good, your nose have to run. And our nose as a movement has done its running. We have had to deal with infiltrators, deceivers, destroyers, backbiters, infighters, persons who are emotionally unstable, persons who come in to get something, and if they can't get it, then they're going to turn on you because they can't get it. So all of that. So if you're going to be very intelligent, and I hope most of us are, you're going to say to yourself, but wait a minute, this is normal. Mr. Patterson has to get a fight. If they get a fight, then this is the right. If I had come in and everything was in smooth sailing, I can guarantee you I would have been heavily funded by the PSOJ oligarchs, because they would have given me all the money and all the people to put on a nice veneer, a nice show, and suck us all up for us to feel like I am about change, but I'm not real change. I am fake change. Just like how in the 1930s, Marcus Garvey was the real thing, and the PSOJ oligarchs created the two colonial parties and used them to get rid of Marcus Garvey, so that we the people are fooled into buying into these two parties, thinking that they're here to be our savior, when in fact they have worked out to be our destroyer.
Hey, I can't even cap. That's facts. There's going to be infighting at some point, and sometimes egos will play a role as well, and that's not just males, even females have ego too. So
Yeah.
I get that. you mentioned something about elections. Here in Jamaica, it's been well documented that the electoral process has been smeared multiple times with corruption. Ballot
Yeah.
boxes being missing and all of that. Uh, what plans, if you were to be elected and go in power, and the party was to take over governance of Jamaica, what plans do you have to make that electoral process one that is more smooth and more effective and more accurate and transparent?
That's a very lovely question, and one that I hope our listeners and viewers will allow themselves to understand. The problem that Jamaica has, first and foremost, is the very system of politics that we have embraced, that we have been led, that we have been misled to embrace. So we have been led to embrace a politics called partisan politics, whereby we divide ourselves into two tribes and we fight for the rest of our lives for scarce benefits and spoils coming out of who wins power. Now, why would we do that? It's because we've designed a model of economics whereby only those who are highly connected will get the most out of the economy. So if your party win, you will get contracts, you will get special benefits, you will get positions. If the other side party win, you're losing those benefits and the other side go and get it. That's the model of governance that these two parties have given us. It means then that when it comes to election, that's a serious and deadly matter for some people because they're bread upon the line. And if they lose the election, a 5 years of drought. And if they lose the next one, a 10 years of drought. Because our economy is not designed to benefit all Jamaicans based on merit, based on your individual productivity. It's designed to benefit you based on how corrupt you are and how connected you are to corruption. So the UIC wants to change that model entirely. And that will change your politics as well. So here's how you change the model. First of all, you must have a 100% publicly funded campaign finance system. What do I mean by that? Right now, if you are running for position in Jamaica, you can be funded by various means privately, which means the two parties control the economy in Jamaica, so they control the money. So the peer-soldier oligarch fund those two parties and fund their candidates. That means the bulk of Jamaica's money available for campaigning comes through private hands, which allows them to control the party and control the candidate. Okay? That means no matter which of the two parties you vote for, those who are funding it behind the scenes are them own it. So if you vote for the orange, you still get the peer-soldier oligarchs. If you vote for the green, you still get the peer-soldier oligarch. So that's how the political system is designed. Now we want to change that by making it 100% publicly funded. So every candidate that qualifies, we want to have standardized qualification requirements that includes competencies and experience. And once you meet those requirements, you will get the same access to newspaper, radio, television, internet, town hall meetings, and debates. All candidates, whether you are orange, green, blue, pink, white, or no color, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same access to your constituents. So when we're going to have a debate, all who qualify for that constituency will be on the debate stage. When you have a town hall meeting, all who qualify in that constituency will be on the town hall meeting stage. And once you qualify, you get the same access to radio, television, and so on. Then now you borrow from the process entirely private funding, entirely from the system. So there's no donation to any party or to any individual candidates. So what you're going to do now, you're now attracting the brightest and the best in your society because now they're no longer exposed to the vitriol and to the attack and to the challenges that comes with the current system. So now the person that have been funded publicly can speak their minds clearly, and if when they're elected, can fully represent the people because they are no longer being controlled by outside forces. The system of election therefore becomes a lot easier because there's no fight for scarce benefits and spoils. Let's back up for a second. In the current system, when we elect a political party, the Prime Minister controls the Senate, the Prime Minister controls the House, the Prime Minister controls the Cabinet. So you have all of them mingling together, which allows for corruption and cover-up. In the UIC system, we're going to change the constitution so that you separate the executive branch. Those who are running the administration of the country are separate from the legislators. So now you'll have checks and balances. You're going to have an MP who is elected in no sense can be a cabinet member. That will not be allowed. So he can focus now on fully representing the people of his constituency. The same for the senator. The senator now will not be appointed. He will be or she will be elected by their parish. So they can focus on their parish and making sure that the government, the administration, is doing the right things for St. Thomas, or the right things for St. Mary, or the right things for St. Elizabeth, or the right things for Westmoreland, and so on. Because now you have proper separation of powers and proper checks and balances. This is how the UIC is going to give us a brand new Jamaica, a well-managed Jamaica, an accountable government, more efficiency and effectiveness, and a more productive society and prosperous society.
From that explanation, I see similarities with how the USA structures their, that separation of power thing you're talking about. Is that accurate? Is that accurate?
Yes and no, because I don't want people to misunderstand. So let's take a look at the US. The US system still has partisan politics.
Yeah. Right.
The UIC system is a non-partisan constitutional republic. So in our system, the new constitution will not make any provisions at all for political parties. A party may exist, but for example, when you go to the Congress, the UIC Congress, no longer a parliament, when you go to the Congress, you sit alphabetically in a circle. You're not sitting as the green sitting here, so, and the orange sitting here, so, and the blue sitting here, so. Because all of the MPs now will be on the same level. Regardless of which party you may belong to, you have the same access, the same authority, and the same support system as an MP to fully serve your constituents. So unlike what we have now, where we have a divided parliament into two, and MPs on the governing side are in a stronger position than MPs on the opposing side, that's done away with. So the US still have that partisan divide. We will not have that. Secondarily, in the US system, they do have what you call a vetting process for appointing persons to the executive branch, which is good. We will have that as well, except that ours will have prescriptions for the qualifications to serve as Minister of Finance, Minister of Health, Minister of this. So you must come highly credentialed. So while there are similarities between the two systems, ours is much better than the US system.
All right. I just checked the audio. I think I need to move the marker, whatever it is.
Yes.
A little bit more distance because it's cloudy and your sound low. I was
oh my goodness.
On the YouTube. Yeah. So your voice is very powerful. So the listening experience of the listener, you can't hear it. It kind of
Right. I'm so sorry about that. So is this better now? Any better?
Let me check it.
Right. I'm so sorry about that. So
that is much better. That is much better.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
Just wanted to help out the people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you talked about the Constitution, and we are in a transition right now in Jamaica where there is some constitutional reform going on.
Yeah.
The process, what it is right now, versus what would the UIC do differently in a constitutional reform? What would you do?
Okay.
How would that look? Because it's an evolving document, right?
Mhm.
So what would be the process that you would go through to include the people more in that process? Explain that to me.
Sure, sure. So the current system is that the governing party selected a few people and put them together in a committee and say, this is it. They have not consulted with the Jamaican people. The way you want to have an inclusive process, first of all, Jamaica has registered political parties. In 2018, well, 17, 18, they changed the law and say you must be registered, and they put criteria in place and say this is how you become a party. So there's no way you can have a constitutional reform committee where you leave off one or more of the registered political parties. And in the current system, we have left off the UIC. They didn't even write to us. They never even called us. We're just left off completely. So that is not inclusive. So the first thing you want to do is to include all of those entities which are registered as a political organization. You also want to ensure that all of the sectors of the country are represented, be it the church, the military, the police, the health fraternity, the informal commercial sector, the industry, manufacturing. You want to bring that, plus the youth as well, of course, at the high school and tertiary level. They want to have an inclusive body. But more important than that, Bolo, you want to give the people a reason for their constitution. Right now, there's no reason for the constitution. They simply say to us, we're going to have a republic. But there is no purpose behind it. There's no encompassing national drive or purpose. They simply say it's time to be a republic now, to Jamaicanize the Constitution. How can you Jamaicanize the Constitution? It means, first of all, it is not Jamaica's Constitution. So the first thing you want to do is to engage in an education of the people. What has happened to you from then until now? That part is completely missing. The people have not been informed and educated about how did we get here and what does this mean. For example, most Jamaicans do not know what happened from slavery to so-called emancipation, to so-called self-governance, to so-called independence, to 62 years, 63 years later today. What does that mean? What are we trying to fix? What are we trying to change? The UIC would make sure the Jamaican people know their history. That in 1834-38, you, the Jamaican people, were lied to. You were told by the colonial powers at the time that they were going to give you freedom, but they lied to you. All they did was to treat you like an animal and let you loose. They did not give you back the land that was stolen from your ancestors. They did not give you back the money that was stolen from your ancestors' slave labor. And they did not compensate you for the loss of learning that occurred over 400 years of saying you're not allowed to read or write. So three major handicaps existed in 1834-38. You lacked the land that was your forefathers. You lacked the money that was stolen from your forefathers' labor and your labor up to that point as newly freed slaves. And we're sending you out into the world in an handicapped fashion because we have kept you from learning over those 400 years. We have tried hard to suppress your learning. Now, just imagine you have a leader, a prime minister today who would share that with the people. I am doing it in a limited format today because I'm not elected. I don't have the microphone. I can't have JIS do all the education and go around and get the people aware. No. It means then that the prime minister and the opposition leader don't want the people to know where they're coming from. Because if the people know where they're coming from, they will have a better idea of where we need to go. So they made sure you don't know that emancipation is a lie and that we should not celebrate Emancipation Day. We should vilify it we should denounce it and say it's time for us to be truly free now. So that's one, Mr. Bolo. That is 1834 to 1838. 100 years later, in 1944, the so-called freed slaves were now given the right to vote. 100 years later. How can you have been free in 1834 if for that 100 years you couldn't vote? It means you weren't free. So that reconfirms the lie, that emancipation was a lie. But they have not, the Prime Minister has not told the people this. They come every year and engage the people in a fake celebration of emancipation to reinforce the lie in the people's minds. So hold on. So why did they give us the right to vote in 1944? Again, it was a way of control. In 1834-38, it was becoming too expensive to maintain slavery the way it was maintained. So it wasn't a real freedom, it was an adjustment of slavery. So they shifted the slavery from the slave master owning you fully to the slave master pushing you out and say, go take care of yourself, but you still must come and beg me a job so we can still thief your wages, thief your labor, but no, you have to fend for yourself, find food for yourself, find house for yourself, and find somewhere for catch and whatever. So they trick the people into becoming more desperate, but feeling like they are free. You follow me? And so now, in 1944, when the
I'm following.
Good. When the people catch on to the lie somewhat, because they still never fully understand it, but they're feeling the lie. So they don't know the lie now, but you can feel the lie, right? So when the people are feeling the lie now, they start to burn down a few more places and chop up a few more people and do some negative things. So what they did now, let's appease them some more. Let's give them a fake democracy. So in 1944, they gave them the right to vote. But guess what they did? Even though the people can vote, they control who they can vote for, and they control the back end. So the people, if who they vote for making the wrong move, the governor from England can overturn the wrong move. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So they have a governor in the background that will still control things. They then eventually make him a governor general. But governor back then, and then they say, go vote, man. And while they're telling you to go and vote, they have a behind-the-scene thing now called the plantocracy. This is the PSOJ back then, the richest people in the country who control the land and all the resources. They now, behind the scenes now, will shove some money in a certain groups and make those groups powerful and to beat down the other true groups now who really want to bring real change, beat them down. That's how they beat down the Marcus Garvey and beat down the other independent thinkers, and then bring forward now the two colonial parties and see that you now have a champion. You have two champions now, eh? You have this green champion and you have this orange champion, and the people now get excited to the point where they did exactly what the colonial masters wanted. They start to throw stone and sticks at each other, and then they raise machetes at each other, and then eventually guns at each other, and they get the two tribes now crystallized. And for 18 years they experimented with this. From 1944 to 1962, they experimented with this and see that it works very well. The people buy into it. The people have surrendered to it. The people believe they will follow Bustamante till they die. They will follow Joshua or Norman Mandela or whoever. And the people bought into this messianic situation now where they worship these two white-looking men at the top of these two parties and just buy into it. And so by 1962 now, that system is working for 18 years, between 1944 and 62. The people now start to agitate a little bit more again. Agitate. Remember, fake freedom, 1834.
Right.
Fake democracy, 1944. Every time the people begin to get restless, they bring in a little twist. So in the 1960s now, the twist was independence. So what we're going to do now, we're going to change the governor, the white governor, to a black governor general who is still going to be committed to a European queen who is going to be head of your state. and we're going to give you laws and rules that keeps the mind of the people colonial, and you're going to say that you're now independent. So guess what? Fake freedom, 1834, fake democracy, 1944, and fake independence in 1962. And right now, we're getting restless again. They're going to give us now a fake republic too.
My goodness. I did not know that. I appreciate this conversation. I did not know that. Impeachment, accountability. How would the system of the UIC, be different from what we're seeing in terms of now they're telling us they want to take out impeachment out the Constitution, which means we've never seen a politician get locked up in Jamaica for anything. Millions and billions of dollars missing, billions of dollars being wasted on empty buildings, some of the buildings owned by politicians. What would the UIC do differently to ensure accountability and also, really vetting the performance of persons that are, actively public servants? Another question to add it on to that. No, answer that first, and then I'll go to the next question. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm still trying to connect here, if possible, to the regular thing. But one of the things politicians like to do with people who they know aren't very aware of the political system is throw around a lot of ideas that will not fix the underlying problem. One of them is what you call like you have recall elections, and you have what's the word you use again? You mentioned the word earlier on. It's a sanction. Impeachment. Right. The best form of impeachment you can have. I am for having an impeachment clause where you have a process whereby the elected politicians in the process can say, I don't like what one of you have done, one of our numbers have done, and you can bring a position to the House and say, we want to impeach this person for what they have done and so on. Wonderful. Sounds nice. And that's okay. Then you have others now who say, let's have a recall process. So if we elect you and you're not performing a certain way, we can get a certain percentage of people to say, sign a petition, and we can have a recall election and take you out. Wonderful. Those are after the fact corrective measures. I prefer preventative measures. How do we prevent you from doing the wrong thing? And here's how you prevent. Right. First of all, understand what's wrong with Jamaica today. And what's wrong with Jamaica today is that the very design of the Constitution, the very design encourages corruption, the very design. So as an accountant, I'm a CPA, and part of my professional training when I'm working with a company is to figure out how to put in place effective internal controls, meaning how do you separate the functions so that the different players in the company hold each other accountable naturally. And you have to have strong collusion, and there's less likelihood of collusion because of how you design it. So here's how the UIC designed the system different from what we have today. In the today's system, as I said earlier on, you have the parties are being funded by outside forces, by private forces, which means their loyalty is misplaced. If you, Mr. Bolo, were to be given $18 million to run in the next election by, say, 3 companies in Jamaica, right? When you win, you know that the next election coming, at them same one you hope for to fund you. Your mind is not going to be free to focus on your constituents.
Right.
Your mind,
exactly.
Your mind is going to be on whether more I'm do, because when they say to you, Mr. Bolo, we want you to push this particular agenda in Parliament. We want you to, I know you're close to the Prime Minister, I want you to push this particular thing to happen. I want you to turn a blind eye to this particular thing that's happening over here. I don't want you to talk about this thing over here because that's $18 million you get to run in the last election. So the UIC wants to fix that problem by nipping it in the bud, taking that away fully. So the big guys with the big money, whether it's big money or bad money, because you also have some bad people who do illicit things who have a whole heap of money too. It's not just a big businessman. So you have big money and you have bad money. If you take big money and bad money out of the process of Bolo being elected, then what Bolo have left? Bolo now know that the only way him can be elected is by delivering on the interest of his constituents. Because there's no other way. Him can't go buying a vote because he will not get any money. In the UIC system, you don't get money in your hand for your campaigning. What you get is services. So you get access to the newspaper to communicate your message. You get access to the radio, TV, internet, town hall meetings and debates. So what happened
basically now, a fair platform for everybody.
A fair platform for everybody. And guess what? So now you have no money now to go down in your constituency. You're not allowed. If you do it, you're going to jail. You have no money now to buy a liquor, to buy a food, to buy a sheet of ply, to give some hog food, to buy some blocks. Those things are outlawed, completely outlawed. So you can't get the money from the big or bad money, and you can't spend the money to buy votes in your constituency. So all you're going to be measured on now is the content of your character, your manifesto, and how you have stood up for the rights and interests of the people of your constituency. And they will see that. They will see that now in you as an MP. Is our roads being fixed timely and properly? Do we have proper policing so we feel safe? Are our public spaces being properly maintained so we can enjoy an evening at the park with our family? Is the environment such that business are thriving and can employ people so they can have their own money to go buy them own blocks, them own cement, them own plyboard, them own hog food, whatever it is? Do you now have a better environment because of this representative who is properly representing you so that during budget time, when the government is budgeting, your MP stand up for you and say, where is the allocation for Elam to have a proper daycare center, a proper community center? Where is the allocation to fix the bridge up a board there so that we're drop off now and soon somebody going to fall over it and dead, and then we're going to look at it afterwards. So that's what you want. You want your MP, not an MP who simply come and fool you up with little school vouchers and little fool things, $1,100, $2,200, $5,000 here and there, but you live in sufferation for 5 years. Bad roads, bad school, bad hospital, bad everything, but you get $5,000 at election time. So now we want to change that, Mr. Bolo. So what you have now, instead of you having to look to recall, the design of the system pushes your MP to truly represent you. And then now look over to the Senate. Right now the Senate, they are rubber stampers. The senators are appointed by 13 by the Prime Minister and 8 by the opposition leader to be their rubber stamp voices in the Senate. They vote based on party line. They don't vote for the interest of the people. So the UIC mash up that system there. Here's how we do it now. Every single senator is elected based on their parish. So one senator for Portland, one senator for St. Thomas, one senator for Kingston, one senator for St. Andrew, one senator for St. Mary, one for St. Elizabeth, one for Manchester, one for Westmoreland, one for Hanover, one for St. James, one for Trelawney, and so on. So what you have happening now, when the lower house makes a law and send it to the upper house that we call the Senate, you have 14 perspectives on it, meaning how will this affect the people of St. Thomas? You see how many years now St. Thomas is left out in the cold?
Oh yeah.
That wouldn't happen under our system.
Oh
Because
yeah.
under our system, you'd have had a senator there from St. Thomas who's just said, where is the allocation to make sure the people of St. Thomas have a good road, have a good hospital, have this, that. And the person from St. Mary, the same thing. And the person from so you don't have a balanced budget, balanced planning, balanced implementation. So rather than looking forward to impeaching somebody or recalling somebody, let's make sure the system work up front. And guess what happened now? Let's say you have an MP who lazy, him not do no work, him not represent you, and you have a senator who lazy, them don't do no work. Guess what? Come the next election, remember, there's nobody to fund their fake campaign to go buy votes. Now they have to stand in front of the camera and go to town hall meeting and face the people, and the people, what you did there all this time, whatever. And hear what happened now.
Right.
They have no money to put out fake campaign ads now and all of that kind of stuff. They have to stand on their record and they have to stand before the people. And the people will make a decision whether you go or you stay. So what you have done with this, Mr. Bolo, you have now made it you have incentivized your MPs, incentivize your senators to do a good job today rather than waiting for an impeachment tomorrow.
I like it. Prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
This is a hypothetical question. I just want to get inside your mind a bit and kind of gauge what's your actual passion and vision towards the people of this country. Hypothetically speaking, if you was to know that you would pass away within 5 years, God forbid, this is hypothetical, and what would be your most important task that you would want to make sure that you get done for the people of Jamaica so that you could rest well knowing that the system is in place for us to thrive and move forward in a very, very great way? What would that thing be?
I think you have answered the question for me, and I'll tell you why. You actually said it at the end. If you notice, I'm not an ordinary politician. Politicians tend to focus on power, just getting elected and having access to power. My interest is on transforming Jamaica. So the most important thing that I want to get done for Jamaica, because I understand its import, I understand its impact. I know many Jamaicans don't yet fully understand the impact. But the most important thing for any country is its constitution. That's the most important thing. Your constitution determines your politics. What your constitution says determines your politics and determines your rights and determines the protection of those rights. So for example, in the current constitution, while it has a Bill of Rights, it also has provisions for the government of the day to violate those rights. The UIC, when we give the Jamaican people the new constitution, the rights delineated in the constitution will be sacred and untouchable by any government. Let me tell you how far we're going with this. We're going to so entrench your rights in the constitution that you will have the legal authority to use force against any government who seeks to violate those rights.
Interesting. Wow.
I'm trying to show you how serious we are.
Yeah, that is giving power to the people. Wow.
Absolutely. So they can't say now that you are doing something illegal when you revolt, because we're going to write into the constitution the right for you to physically replace any government that seeks to violate any one of those sacred rights. Let me tell you what those rights are, because they can be summarized easily. Your basic rights are these. You have the sovereign right to your life, to your liberty, and to property, which means any government which seeks to, for example, violate your bodily autonomy ever again under a UIC system, if it just breathes the idea of mandating violating your bodily autonomy, just breathe it, you as a people have the unequivocal constitutional right to rise up and displace that government instantaneously without even a vote.
Wow.
Because those rights must be off limits. The most important purpose of a constitution is to protect you from your government.
Mm.
The role of government is to protect you from criminals, and the role of a constitution is to protect you from government. Let me say that again. The role of government is to protect you from criminals, and the role of the constitution is to protect you from government. The government must be your servant, not your master. So, for example, the job of the government is to make sure that your life is secure. As long as you're not using force or fraud to threaten somebody else's life, or to seek to enslave somebody, take away their liberty, or seek to steal or damage their property, as long as you're not doing that, your life must be protected, and the government's job is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The job of the government is to protect your freedom, the freedom to live and earn and do all the good things you can do with your own life. Decide how you want to live, what you want, and as long as you are not using force or fraud to infringe on anybody else's life, anybody else's freedom, or anybody else's property, you're a free man. And so the government must also not infringe on your property rights. The most important property you have is you. And then, yes, that is your property. You own yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so no government mustn't play with that. And your children. So, for example, in the UIC world, when we take over this government, you will never again have any threat to your child being forced to learn things that will either sexualize them, overly sexualize them, or confuse them about their gender.
Talk to him.
You know, or cause them to be exposed to things that you as a parent don't want them to be exposed to. We're going to put the power back in the hands of parents, back in the hands of citizens, and government now has to walk a careful line, because you're there to support and empower the people. You're not there to impose your will or the will of any foreign masters on our people. And so the UIC system is designed to protect your sacred right as a human being, your individual sovereignty and our collective sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you touched on the children, because family is extremely important to me. The nuclear family is extremely important. Kids, I don't think our children are being protected at all here in Jamaica. Sad to say. When I look at the numbers of the amount of teenagers, boys and girls that have been missing, and those cases have been unsolved. My question to you is, in terms of crime, what would be the UIC's plan? Because we need a plan. There's no plan right now. What would be the UIC's plan in terms of cleaning up Jamaica in that regard?
Well, we have had many crime plans in Jamaica over the years. Every election, the two colonial parties come out with a crime plan. The problem is they do not have a development plan. They do not have a family plan. They do not have a community plan. What they have is a crime plan, and it has worked. They have found myriad ways to increase crime in Jamaica. In the 1960s, we were having about in the 1960s we were having about 66 crimes per year. We have now gone up to 2,000, 1,500, 1,600,
700. Yep.
Yeah. So clearly their crime plan is working. But here's the problem we have. We keep asking criminals to solve our crime problem.
Man, talk to them.
How can you ask those who imported gun into our country, placed those guns in the hands of our young people, created gangs, funded and protected criminals? The very same, these two, you see, the problem the Jamaican people are having, is that they tend not to be honest. We tend not to be honest with ourselves. If we're going to be honest, we would all say that these two colonial parties are organized criminal gangs themselves, sitting at the top of our society, running our government. So if you are going to have two organized criminal gangs at the top of your governance structure, you cannot expect to solve the crime problem. So the first step in Jamaica's anti-crime plan must be to remove these two gangs from controlling our government. That's the first step. Because, Mr. Bolo, they do not have the credibility. They do not have the moral authority. They do not have even the intellect to address the crime problem because they are complicit. They are a part of it. Just go down to Central Kingston and ask the people there, and they will honestly let you know that right there in Central Kingston, the politicians are behind the gang wars and violence the people are suffering. That's not new to any Jamaican. None of us should be surprised that even to this very day, politicians are a part of the criminal enterprises in this country. For example, you have politicians who are heavily invested in security firms. The more crime you have in Jamaica is the more wealthy security firms are. You have politicians who are invested in morgues. So they benefit from the proceeds of crime.
Whether directly or indirectly.
Yes. You remember, these two parties are the ones that have consumed a large share of the trillions of dollars borrowed in our name. So watch what they do, Bolo. They borrow trillions of dollars in our name, steal a significant amount of it directly or indirectly, because some of it, what they do is they give contract to their cronies who are not competent or qualified to do the work for which they have been hired. That's stealing. Okay? So even though you still have a check being signed properly and a requisition form being filled out properly and a tendering process that was done that gives the veneer of legality, it is still theft because you know that you're not ensuring the Jamaican people get value for money. Okay? They also create large segments of the public service which are useless and not producing anything but hot air. And they're paying salaries to all of these people. They put their friends and cronies on boards, all kinds of boards and commissions. Every day, you have to work hard doing your business. You have to go out in the sun and sweat to carry out your business. And you have many of them who simply, because of their political connection, is on a board. They meet once a month. They may or may not show up, and they get easily $150,000, $250,000, $300,000 for the month. While
some of them can't even read.
And you have to suffer and struggle. Many of them get concessions and get vehicles and this and that. Many of them get behind the door deals that cause them to be able to build a beautiful house on the side of the hill somewhere up there with the Prime Minister, while the people are suffering. Now, this is theft. So what they did, they borrowed trillions. One of the reasons why these parties fight so hard for power, when they get power, they get to borrow money that they will not be accountable for. We, the people, are going to be accountable. When you borrow money, if you go borrow $10 million from one of the banks and put that together with your little NHT money and go and buy a house, you're on the hook for that. And if you can't pay back that loan, they're going to come and repossess your house and throw you out on the street, right?
Facts.
Now, when the politician go and borrow trillions of dollars, he has absolutely zero risk. He has no risk. All of that risk is transferred to you and me. Here's what I call it. I call it concentrated benefits and disbursed cost. What that means is the benefits of them borrowing the money is concentrated to their benefit. They borrow the money, sprinkle some of it here and there, whatever they do, and thief a big chunk through various schemes, like what happened during the Royal Reed situation. Various schemes are used, and they steal the money, whether it's through a school feeding program or through whatever. Our politicians, by the way, are extremely skilled at corruption. And that is why Jamaica is the way it is, because they have made scamming a cultural part of our identity. You understand? Because
Yep.
they're the biggest scammers. So when they borrow this money, Bolo, when they borrow this money, just imagine you're in the system with them, eh? And the government borrows $2 trillion. And that's a lot of money now. 2 trillion is a lot of money. But suppose you only get a 50 million out of it through this way, this way, this way. You can have a beautiful house and a nice car and can fly out for a vacation somewhere nice. That's what's happening, Bolo. But then guess what now? When the bill come now, the bill to pay back the $2 trillion, when the bill comes to pay back the $2 trillion, guess who have to pay for it? Not them, me and you. Now, here's how you and me pay for it. Not only do
But
we
check this
pay
out.
the
Check
yeah,
this out,
go ahead.
Mr. Patterson.
Yeah.
Sonia Ellis is saying she's still not hearing what you would consider a crime plan.
Sure,
So
I'm getting there. This is a crime plan. Miss Ellis, if you want the crime plan, you have to understand what makes the plan. Somebody can come and give you a 50 list. You've gotten that before, and list 50 things and say, we're going to jump over the moon, we're going to dig a tunnel, and it means nothing. None of that means anything. If you do not understand the problem, the plan don't make no sense.
right.
If you
I totally understand what you're saying. I heard the plan from the start, you know.
Yeah, man.
The
If you
first
don't,
the first
go
three
ahead.
things that you said was the
Yeah.
actual crime plan. But it missed some people. When you said
Yeah,
it, I
man.
went,
Yeah.
oh, but it missed
You-
them. But go ahead.
they like what they have been getting for 80 years. Nice, fanciful statements that amounts to nothing after election. Me telling you what the problem is so we can solve the problem. So here's the thing. When the two parties borrow $2 trillion on Head, and they get the concentrated benefit of nice houses and nice cars, and their kids go abroad to school, and they can fly out for healthcare, the cost of all of that comes to us. Now, here how it cost us. Not only in the 16.5% and now 15% GCT that we pay, not only in the 25% income tax that we pay, not only in the NHT that they force us to pay, not only in the education tax that they force us to pay, not only in the heart tax that they force us to pay through the employer, not only in the fit and proper fees they cost us to pay for our cars, not only in the toll that we pay to drive on our roads, not only in the property tax we pay for our house and our land, not only in the tax we pay to leave our country if we're traveling or coming back. All of these monies that they tax us is not enough. Them still tax we by not fixing the road timely or properly.
Mm,
They still tax we by not fixing the hospital so that we can have the care that we need when we need it. They still tax we by not fixing up the school so we have good education. That's why over 70% of our students fail every year. They still tax we by underpaying the teachers so we lose the best, and the ones that are left don't have the tools and the income to go to school and teach properly because them head hat them how them go and make ends meet tomorrow. They still tax us by underpaying the police, under training the police, and under equipping the police. They still tax us by making sure we don't have decent community centers in our communities and good parks. Here is the crime plan, Miss Ellis, and anybody else who want to ask foolishness like that. Here is the crime plan. Think about it carefully. If you have a police service, not a force, a police service that is a part of the social work of the community, the police grew up with the family, knows the sons and knows the daughters, live in the community. The police drives a good car. The police have a good income and is highly respected in the society because he is upstanding, because the institution he's a part of is highly regarded with men and women who are trustworthy. They have a good system of proper vetting in there to hire only the best and the brightest. Not people who just got it because they can't find a work, but people who are competent and qualified to serve, who are trained now in social work, trained in respecting the citizens, not brutalizing the citizens, trained in how to deal with the boy on the corner of the street and encourage and motivate him and get him into a useful program. That is a part of the plan. Another part of the plan is to have a system whereby every student that's leaving school If they're not going on to further studies, either in a tertiary institution or a trades program, they're automatically employed as an apprentice in one of the various institutions or places of business across the country. So no child is left out when they leave school at 16, 17, or 18. They're going into work immediately. So if you're not a UE or UTech or some other institution, or you're not in a trades program, you are immediately into the workforce and you're being groomed and trained to be productive. So you don't lose the little bit of knowledge you already have from school. You build on those skills and then you can make a decision now by seeing the world, and you earn a little money and it can keep you out of trouble. So no more unwanted pregnancies, at least not too much, and not a whole heap of young men sitting on the corner and are available for the gang. So we starve the gang. So you starve the gang and you embed the police in the community, change their training so that they become more social workers, psychologically in tune, and they're involved in the development of the community, and they're working with the pastors, with the parents, with the teachers, with the nurses, and you close the loop, and no boy or girl, man or woman, mother or father are left on their own. They now have a respected set of police in their community that they know and trust. Your bond comes to them when you're 1 year old, 2 year old, and they know you all the way through high school to college. So mommy having problems, she's a single mother. She said, me call Corporal Jones, you know. And Corporal Jones know you by name, and know your mother, and know your father, and where you're born. And then you want to make sure now that you hold the fathers accountable. Give the fathers an incentive to stay with their families, to work with their families. And so we start to re-engage the family and bring back family values, bring back the community values. How we do that? You cannot have communities without proper community centers. So in every single solitary major community grouping, you must have a well-built, well-designed, managed facility. Not a little building that's sitting there. You must have staff in those buildings, a gymnasium for the kids to come and run up and down and play, a outside ball ground and stuff, cricket and whatever, basketball, tennis. Inside you have library, digital books and stuff you can borrow, study area, air conditioned, clean and neat, with proper protocols and rules for engagement, and lift up the spirit of the people and lift up the thinking. Right now, spirit dirty community centers them have. That is poorly kept, mashing up and mash down, roof a leak, roof off. We have to change that, my friends. We have to have some pride again as a people and begin by rejuvenating our communities, giving our people pride and hope and a place to go. Their houses might not be where it needs to be yet, but at least give them a community center they can be proud of. If they come home and the house too small and they don't have enough light or whatever, the kids can just go to the community center. There will be a proper set of adults there, staff that are trained to provide them little guidance. They can go to the study area. They can go to the gym. You know, sometimes the young boys them to work it off. Get them a gym, man. They can come and pump some irons and build some muscles and whatever. There's a track out there. They can go run the track and so on, whatever. But bring back the community. So community policing, community center, making sure that even the hospital now is a part of the community. Don't separate. Make the clinic a part of the community, man. Not just clinic over there. So you need to have even house calls being done, checking on the conditions under which the kids are living at home. Some are being molested. You understand me? So you need to have, not very invasive, a very light touch of engagement, so we can quickly pick up on something. A little girl, I'm molested, you see the sign. So the teacher now is connected with the police, is connected with the hospital, with the clinic. You follow me? And so we can cultivate our communities and our people and build a new generation of Jamaicans and just strike a blow to the denigration. If you look at Jamaica, we're socially denigrating. We are coming apart at the seams. We're antisocial. We're vicious. We're scamming. We have to fix that, Mr. Bolo. And that's what the UIC, for us, a crime plan, which I hate to use the word, or anti-crime plan, is a developmental plan. It is the whole Jamaica. It is if you create a Jamaica that is productive, a Jamaica that is prosperous, a Jamaica that is safe, a Jamaica that puts the people first, not by word, but by deeds. Having the community designed to bring out the best in our people. Having the school system designed to bring out the best in our people. Having the police service designed to bring out the best in our people. That is how you solve crime, by eliminating the need for crime.
There's not much. There's not much, if anything, I disagree with. You know, there's a saying that says that the devil finds work for idle hands. So once you increase the social, because there's a very very bad socialization between police and Jamaicans hate police. All right, there's not a good rapport there, for good reason, because there's a lot of physical and verbal abuse that goes on in terms of a lot of police. You've seen it in videos, you know, beating, having foot on people and all of that. So to that's a long-term plan though. Sonia Ellis was saying, because I'm paying attention, she's giving a lot of pushback. She's saying that's a long-term plan, but what would you do now?
It's an immediate plan. It's there's no short-term plan for crime that makes sense. The prime minister tricked us with his short-term plan, which is to simply have states of emergencies. That's it. So every time that there is a flare-up, you lock down that community, and you have untrained and unskilled police officers go in there and brutalize those who are young and marginalized and unaware of their rights and stuff like that. You go in there and you further disenfranchise them in order to lock down criminals, right? You need to understand something about crime fighting in a country. You must never use crime fighting as a pretext to take away people's rights. Never. So you must always approach the fighting of crime with respect for the citizens, respect for the individuals. That's
You're breaking up.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is this any better?
You said with respect for the individuals. That's the last thing I heard.
Yeah. So you must fight crime by, first of all, respecting the individual, respecting the citizens, and that's how you build trust. You build trust when the people know that you're really there for them. You're not there for show. You're not there to just kill gunman and mash up anybody in between along the way. You're there for the people. And so when you respect the people, and the people
you're breaking up terribly.
Wow.
I'm not hearing nothing you're saying. I'm not hearing you.
Okay.
Yeah, the internet is giving a little bit of problem.
Yes, it's really a struggle.
I'm hearing you now.
So, all right. So what I was saying is,
we work through
it. You must develop a respect between the police and the people, and you do that by having the police come there as a agent of change, an agent of respect. So when the police respect the people, can you hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you. It was my end. I'm sorry.
It's your end.
They said they can hear you clear. It's my end. I couldn't hear you, but go ahead.
All right, no problem. So good. So what we want to achieve a situation where the police becomes highly respected and highly regarded and highly trusted by the community, so that people feel safe now to talk to the police. They feel safe that when they share, you see, if we were to focus, Mr. Bolo, on really having a very professional police service, that would immediately address crime in Jamaica. Immediately. Because the people just want to know. You see, there are many communities in the world where the people trust the Don more than the police.
This is true.
So what you want to change it around now. You want the people to trust the police and not the Don. So you can't have your police struggling to live. Your police must be above reproach. When a person becomes a police, it must be. I don't know what people look up to today. It's as if they look up more to a Vibes Cartel than to other people. But What I want is for those in uniform, those in authority, to be so distinguished again that people look up to them. The child must say, "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a police officer." Not because he carry a gun and can get him away with people, but because he is so highly respected and highly regarded.
Mhm.
When you're a police in Jamaica, you should not have to be struggling to make your car payment.
Financially, right.
You should not
Right.
have to be struggling to buy a house.
Always
You
say
should
that.
you should not have to be struggling to send your kids to school.
Hmm.
So you want when a person becomes a part of the police, he is highly regarded by society. Everybody respect him. You're inviting him to come and speak at your school. You're inviting him to come and speak at your church. You're inviting him or her to come and be a part of your community event. So Miss Ellis and others who are talking, I want you to just step out of how they have framed your minds all these years and just think big and think better. So now we need to have a police service that the people can trust, and if the people trust them, the crime will go down. But remember, you have to pair that with reality. And here's the reality, Bolo. Here's the reality. A child in Jamaica who goes to school and does what their teachers and parents says, which is to study a book and work hard. And when you finish, you're going to come out to something good. You're going to find a good job. You're going to be able to raise a family. You're going to be able to own your home and so on. Practically every child now knows that's a lie.
Mm, that's right. That's why there's so much scammers.
And so if you only deal with one side of the equation, which is the side where you say there are criminals and we need to go after them, you'll be going after them forever. From my idea, my knee, we have had police doing the same brute force they're doing now.
Facts.
Okay?
Facts.
Nothing has changed. It has
No.
been the same thing. So if you want real change, you have to change the way you're dealing with it. So let's make sure, and here's how I want to make sure, Mr. Bolo. I want us to do a very simple thing. Number one, be honest with the Jamaican people about their past so that they can move forward. Number
Hmm.
two, give the people back their stolen property. The colonial masters, the colonial parties, the PSOJ oligarchs that fund them, they have stolen the property, the land of Jamaica from the people of Jamaica. They have made thousands of Jamaicans squatters. They have made thousands of Jamaicans suffer to try to buy a little piece of house or a little piece of land because they have colluded. And I hope everybody get this. The colonial masters, those who enslaved us and raped us and beat us and extract our wealth from us, they have the full support of the PSOJ oligarchs and the two colonial parties to continue to hold on to the land that was stolen from us.
Hmm.
Had these two parties, since they have been in government, from 1944, over 80 years ago, or even in 1962, over 63 years ago, if they had done the basic thing of saying, my God, let us do land reparation now and give every single Jamaican family whose ancestors were enslaved on this island, give all of them what belongs to them, which is their inheritance, their property. Generational wealth would have sprung from that because your first major difficulty is to somewhere to live, somewhere to call your own, somewhere to be able to set up roots. And if you had given the people back their property, Jamaica would have been built up long, long time ago. It wasn't done then. The UIC going to do it now. So that's number one. Then you have to free the economy. I know what I mean by free. Remove the shackles from small and medium businesses that are placed there to protect big businesses and suffocate us with whole heap of red tape and regulations and trials and tribulations, which allows a few, for example, NCB, while Jamaicans are suffering, whether it's in COVID or now, while they're suffering, NCB and all the big banks are making billions. How can they make billions if the Jamaican people are suffering?
Mm.
If so many Jamaicans are financially insecure, how is it then if we're all as poor as we are, it's a poor country and we're suffering
Right.
so much, how can you, a few of you, be making billions in profits every year? Something is wrong with that equation.
Something is
It
wrong with the
means,
system. Yeah.
yes, it means then that you have designed a system. I call it a master slave system. It's a
Mm.
master slave economy where you continue to concentrate the wealth in the hands of a few at the expense of the many. And that's what they're doing. They have designed a system of low wages to keep the Jamaican in a low wage bracket where sometimes you're getting even only 10-15% of what your counterpart in another country is getting for the same job.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they have kept you down here. And it's by design. It's by design. And the two colonial parties, together with the PSOJ oligarchs, they continue to maintain that design so that Jamaica can be a low wage environment and they can suck out the wealth out of the people and live big life. And by the way, remember, they're not living the big life because they are skillful entrepreneurs. They're living it because they're thieves.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
So they're hiding behind the veneer of corporate glamour. So they're wearing the jacket and tie and going to the corporate meetings, but they're really just scammers in ties and jackets. So they're no less scammers than the scammers who used to with their pants dropping off their bottom. It's just that one set of scammers are doing it in the boardrooms with the corporate veneer and with money that they're giving to the politicians to run their campaigns, and another set is in some back room somewhere making some ridiculous calls on phones and getting people to send them their money. But
Mm.
the two are the same. Two sets of scammers.
Right. So we've covered crime. We've covered the Constitution. Um, and I think you touched also on how you would make. I want to talk about one of the biggest industries in Jamaica, um, the tourism industry. As it's presently constructed, I believe it's a very small percentage of the
Mhm.
funds that are generated from tourism that actually goes into the pockets of actual Jamaicans.
Mhm.
What would the UIC do to ensure that the Jamaican population would benefit more monetarily from this large industry that's bringing in trillions of dollars?
Wonderful. Um, I want to answer this question by um, okay. Let me put it this way: the system we have in place right now is designed to achieve what it is achieving. Okay, it's designed because of our politicians and political leaders and misleaders. We have a system where tourism is concentrated in a few areas, in a few buildings, in a few hands, many of which are foreign hands. And so, by design, if the owners of your industry are not local, it means whatever profits they make will be repatriated out of your country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have built it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It also means that if you create a product like that, they're less likely to use local inputs and more likely to use imported inputs. So you're losing money on two ends. The profits go back out, and even the supplies you're bringing in is imported supplies. So you're putting money out for those supplies as well. And then now what you're getting now is just the residual from the employment jobs, which are low paying jobs, relatively speaking. And you get the payroll taxes to the government and a little bit of money to the local staff. And then that is spent into the economy. Very small and meager. But it's all because of the colonial mindset of our leaders. They have no confidence in we, the people. If you notice, Jamaica, we don't have leaders who respect us. We don't have leaders who care about us. That's why Jamaica look the way it does. It's a generally dirty place. If you go up the road there now, just drive up to um, the main road there from Braze River going to Santa Cruz, and you will see garbage spilling out over at Lakeland Hardware, right at the front there, onto the road, onto the sidewalk. You have to skip over garbage. If you drive down before you get into Braze River, to the left, you'll see a big pile of garbage just strewn down in an area because people have nothing else to do with, there's no pickup coming, so they just go dump it there. If you drive down along my property side, you'll see garbage. People just throw some garbage over on my property because whatever, right? So our leaders don't care about us. They don't respect us either. So they have no respect for us. Bear with me on this, because I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah, man, I'm listening.
If our leaders respected us, if our leaders cared about us, if our leaders wanted us to enjoy the good life, here's how they would design Jamaica. First and foremost, they would want to see every part of Jamaica looking, smelling, and feeling like a tourist resort. Meaning sidewalks nicely paved, the grass is nicely cut, flowers are arranged, and trees are nicely planted and proper equidistant from each other, trimmed and so on. Park benches are put out, the ones made of concrete that can last and sit, there. You'd have a number of Jamaicans employed in landscaping, not haphazardly. You'd have a crew called the Public Works Department with different sub-agencies, those that maintain roads year round. So as soon as one part start mash up, they go fix it quickly before it get worse and everything is good. You have those now who sweep the street, those who trim the edging, those who plant the flowers and so on. You'd have a beautiful Jamaica. I mean, so when you land at Norman Manley International or at Sangster's, when you land, before you land, you're looking down and you're seeing a garden paradise down there. Not just the rough garden that we have now, which is, the hills that grow with trees. Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody would say, I don't mean to cut you, but to cut
Yes.
you, to add to that. Like the situation with Beryl and the trees falling down, I believe that public thing you're talking about would be good because
absolutely.
you need the trees to be regularly trimmed.
Absolutely.
Right? You need the trees to be regularly trimmed. Man.
You got it.
That can prevent these issues from even happening where the light wires are dropped down.
So you would have seen it because you're maintaining it. Because you're maintaining, you prevent the problem.
Exactly.
You preempt you'll see, for example, you'll see where a light post is now rotten.
Yeah, but you'll try,
and just waiting for a wind to come.
That's right.
We have lost a few lives. Last light posts have dropped down and executed, electrocuted some people. So what I'm saying, what you'd see if our leaders respected us, if our people loved us, Jamaica would look like the Prime Minister's residence. If they respected us, if they meant us any well, those two parties that have controlled this country for 80 years, they would have been on a mission to make Jamaica clean and green, beautifully well maintained. Now watch me with this now. What you now have, Mr. Bolo, you would have trained Jamaicans, now well trained in them good job where they are maintaining Jamaica. You would have public washrooms that are properly maintained, community centers that are properly maintained, green spaces and parks for the people to enjoy. Now watch me now carefully, Mr. Bolo. With this in place now, you can have a powerful community tourism product.
Right.
You follow me? That the tourists now not coming to go and they can still do it, but not necessarily go and stay in an all-inclusive. They can now come and have and go to any home in the community where the people is willing to host tourists. Right. And so you have them coming to the community where Miss Matty now cook our breadfruit and yam and banana and rundown and whatever.
Recipe,
and she cook her cornmeal porridge a certain way and with her Johnny cake a certain way and whatever. And so the people come now from all over the world. Now watch me carefully. They're now coming. They're going anywhere, whether it is St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, Tivoli, Jonestown, Denham Town. Wherever they're going everywhere now because the entire country is accessible. I know they can mix with the people and eat with the people and drink with the people and dance with the people and get the vibes of Jamaica.
Culture.
And the culture of Jamaica. Now, guess what? You have now quadrupled your tourist arrival because everybody want to come to that. Everybody want to now come and go to the little party on the corner here and there and there, wherever they're having them and so on, right? Because now, it's a rootsy tourism product now. And so you don't have to go and stay in a just sandals is still there. No, that is fine for those who want that. You can go there. But now you have moved the tourism now into the heart of the society. And the dollars now are going right into the hands of the Jamaican people. So you have a little lady in a Portmore now with her little place and with her little house, she's a single lady for whatever reason. The kids have grown up and gone away, whatever it is, and she's there, and she taking two tourists come, and easily for the year she make all of $5-6 million just so. You follow me? So now you have now built an economy. People don't have to go thief again, Mr. Bolo.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
gonna reduce the crime now.
what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, that would increase revenue at I'm talking about crazy levels. The money
Every
that
level.
would come in for tourism is going directly in the pocket of the Jamaican person. With a time like this where we're in the age of technology, now they can have their own social media platforms. Word of mouth is the best thing. So you have people that come there, had great experience, they're gonna send more people. Because
Absolutely.
your porridge was so good, it's to die for. You have to go and get it. And she was so whatever it is about that individual that sells their product is going to increase their potential because of them.
Absolutely.
Instead of what we're seeing now with the tourists. Because I talk to a lot of tourists. They tell us they encourage them not to come out of the hotels.
Yes, absolutely.
This is what they're doing. They're doing everything in their power to keep them locked in those buildings, in that property, and not come out and spend their money with the Jamaican people.
They do not. I can tell you this. The government of Jamaica, those two colonial parties and their PSOJ funders, they do not want the Jamaican people to be liberated. They want us right where we are. They are happy with us. They're happy.
Yep.
They're happy with us living on the edge. They love when we suffer. And so guess what that does? It creates a massive demand for the little bit of job that they will have to offer. So they can pick, choose, and refuse, and they can underpay because you're lucky you have a job. You follow me? So they want to maintain the master-slave economy of their colonial masters. Our politicians have learned the colonial masters' way, how to divide and conquer, how to divide and distract so you can exploit and extract the wealth of the people. And that's what they've been doing for 80 long years. And they keep fooling the people, and holding on to power. And I am saying, let's break the chains. The only way for us to break the chain, we have to beat them at their own games. We now have to own our own party. We have to say enough is enough. We're going to join the UIC. We're going to volunteer in the UIC. We're going to donate to the UIC. We're going to elect 63 MPs for the UIC so that the UIC can dash with the constitution there, dash with the colonial system there, and give us a united Jamaica, a liberated Jamaica, and an empowered Jamaican people.
Here comes the devil's advocate, Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
If there was another party that genuinely shared your vision and they was to run and win and pretty much carry out, the goals and the aspirations of the UIC, how would you feel about that?
Well, it's very simple. Any Jamaican who is genuine, as you just said, they would join the UIC. Why would you go and create another one? We have gone through the pain and suffering of building. You know how hard it is to become a party in Jamaica? They changed the laws and the rules. I mean, you wouldn't know the amount of sufferation I've gone through. First, I worked in 2018. I worked flat out put my life on pause and worked flat out to meet all the requirements to get the UIC registered. We are the third registered political party in Jamaica. What does that mean? After the two major parties make the rules and meet their own rules because of them make it, we had to fight with them for 18 months, sorry, for 1 year, 2018 into 2019. First of all, 1 year to prepare. It took us 1 year to get all the pieces together. And then the following year, 2019, now to fight with them. So 2 years worth of my life, 2 years worth of suffering. And once they finally made the UIC, the third registered political party that overcame all of their obstacles, and we finally became one. And then now they send all kind of people inside to destabilize and destroy. You would know what I have gone through with this thing. Now, if somebody is genuine and want exactly what we want, as you just said, then the easiest thing and the wisest thing to do is to join us. If you're not joining us, then you're duplicating efforts and you're now going to water down our chance of success. Either way, if you're there and we're there, it's two of us now fighting for the same objective. What will that do? It means we're going to be at odds. We're going to be stressing out our people. Choose between two of the same thing. We're that already. We're choosing between two of the same thing right now. Why get another two of the same thing again now on another side? Yeah.
My purpose of asking the question, you see, people will say that, you're speaking politically because you're speaking against the other two parties, and the UIC is the only way, and pretty much they'd say, they've heard this all before from the other two. So the reason why I ask is to give you the opportunity to say, well, hey, if they're doing the same objective, and it's going to benefit the Jamaican people, well, I'm all for it. Go ahead.
No, but I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not going to say that because that is politically correct. But I'm not here to be politically correct. I'm here to be correct. So the correct thing to do, anybody who wants to do the same thing that we're doing, there's no point in doing it over because you are wasting time and money and energy, and you're also going to be bringing confusion to the people of Jamaica because you're now going to say, "Oh, we're like UIC." So you're going to dilute us, right? Like you're going to dilute the effect. So let's be real. Let's be realistic. And the bottom line is we need to come together. That's why we're called the United Independents. It means uniting. Now, there are people out there, I know there are people right now out there who are trying to copy elements of the UIC and trying to create their own. But it means they're not genuine. Because if you're genuine...
Put up in right there. You guys are the first person I hear talk about a republic,
Yes.
I never heard any conversation about a republic until the UIC spoke. I can tell that's my experience. I never heard the JLP or the PMP mention any form of a republic change. I never heard it. So I have to give you guys credit for that because I've been listening to you since the pandemic. But,
what they've tried to do, what the two colonial parties tried to do in a very sly way, they try to gradually take the UIC talking points and make them their own so that by the time the people hear us, because remember, if you wake every day, you wake up, every morning you wake up, you hear about the two colonial parties because the people who fund them also control the media. So they keep that in front of the people. So every morning, every evening, every afternoon, the people must hear this colonial party, this one. And they don't call them colonial parties, of course, but they try to keep them in front of the people and they try to keep the UIC away from the people. But they're always stealing our points. So you'll hear, as soon as I started to talk about land reparation, one of their surrogates quickly went out there and went on Smile Jamaica and started to talk about how, maybe we need to do land reparation. As soon as I talk about making Jamaica the organic food capital of the world, the existing government quickly started to talk, we need to do organics, we're going to do organics.
I remember that.
As soon as we talk about water harvesting and Jamaica should not be short of water and we need to have more water harvesting facility. Quickly here, one of their surrogates out there, water harvesting, and we're going to do water harvesting. So everything we say, they have no inspiration. And if the UIC never existed, Half the things you hear from the government now, you would not hear it. If the UIC did not exist, even the current opposition party, because the UIC has been around for a while and working behind the scenes trying to get up there. You might recall there's a time in Jamaica's election in the 2016 storm, you hear them talking about good governance. And where they get that from too? Is we bring that language to the fore and say good governance, and then quickly Peter Phillips jump on it and grab it and stuff. So these people are crafty. They're very good at winning and holding on to power. They're not good at helping the Jamaican people to be empowered or to win. They don't want we to win, they want to win. When I say we, they don't want we the people to win. They just want to win. And when they win, they win. They win by, why you think many people would go and run for them and not for the UIC? If you're going to be a candidate of the UIC, a real hard work, you don't have no advantage. You go join them, you're getting PSOJ backing money, you're getting name recognition for the party, and if you win, you get access. That's why, I won't call the name, but you can probably guess this one. There are certain young people who have joined one or the other of the two parties. They're well-educated young people. They're known. They've write some books and do some stuff. But why would they join one of these two groups? Because them know say the only way for them to get wealthy in Jamaica is through the corrupt political process. They cannot gain wealth. You don't see young entrepreneurial Jamaicans doing well here in Jamaica. They suffer and die quietly. But if them get a political connection now, if they're a part of the system, a part of the thing, where that's how the thing set, suddenly you'll see somebody who may not even have much entrepreneurial skills suddenly start drive big car because them party win now. Suddenly them start build big house because them party win now.
To your point, I know a police officer. His baby's mother is in the government. She's an MP or something. And as soon as she won, the financial elevation, I'm talking about the first month.
Exactly.
The first month, he said he could not believe what she was driving. All right. She did not have no type of access to that type of money. I'm talking about he was surprised. So that's facts.
Exactly.
That's
Jamaica is not about entrepreneurship. I can tell you that. Jamaica is from top to bottom a corruption enterprise. The way you get wealthy in this country is by corruption, not by entrepreneurship.
Links.
Corruption.
Yep.
You can work as hard as you might, try as hard as you might to build your business. You're not going nowhere unless you engage in corruption. They're going to try everything to stifle you. All the gates will be closed. They'll try everything.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is, Jamaica has one last opportunity now. We're at a breaking point now in Jamaica where we either become permanently and unequivocally doomed to corruption, or we rise up and revolt. Not with machetes and guns, but rise up and revolt at the ballot box. And not just by voting, because voting is not enough. And I'm being honest with this. We cannot expect to outvote the other two parties just by telling people to go and vote. It will not happen. The only way we can win at the ballot box is by having 500,000 members. You following me?
I'm following.
We need 500,000 Jamaicans to get up and deliberately say, I am going to sign and become a member of the UIC. I am going to volunteer in the UIC. And I am going to pay my membership dues of $250 a week or $1,000 a month. And I'm dead serious. And I'm not saying this because I want your money. It's not me you're financing. You're financing your own movement. There's no political party that can win without financing.
No.
So either we take the financing from you and represent you, or we take the financing from the PSOJ oligarchs and represent them. No, they will not fund us because they already have the two. Go ahead.
So what I'm hearing is that, and this is literally what I'm understanding, right?
Yeah.
You're giving the Jamaican people an opportunity to play the same game or to be in the game that the PSOJ oligarchs are in, where they have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to fund their own party that will be actively, working towards their agenda.
Absolutely.
And it's only $1,000 a month.
I thought, yeah, $250 a
I'm
week.
signing up. I'm signing up.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm signing up.
And here's the thing about this, eh? Here's the thing about this. In my community here, I am in Northeast St. Elizabeth, eh? Um, uh, I live in Bogue, the border of Bogue and Elam.
Right.
Now, the people in my community here, they're used to a certain kind of politics. Here's the politics they're used to. They believe you mean them well if you come and give them handouts. So here's how you win election in my community and many communities across Jamaica. You go and at election time, you give them a T-shirt, a cap, and give some of them $5,000, buy some drinks and some food. Now, that's very expensive. That is why typically the two parties will spend anywhere from $10 to $20 million in a constituency, okay, at election time, plus what they spend outside of election time. Now, here's the trick that people don't understand. When a politician spends 20 or 30 million dollars on your constituency to get your vote and to win, ask yourself the question, why would he spend $30 million to get your vote? What will happen after he wins? Here's what will happen after he wins. He knows that if he wins, he's going to make back that $30 million by
In 1
stealing
month.
by stealing from you. Watch me,
Yep.
Bolo.
Yep.
So you get, let's say you're lucky. You're lucky. Let's say you are one of the lucky ones and you got $20,000. I'm going to make it a bigger number, relatively speaking. You got $20,000 and you're happy and you elect this MP from one of the two colonial parties in your constituency. And you got $20,000. One time, you got $20,000. For the next 5 years, you will suffer bad roads, bad policing, bad health care, bad schools, and lack of employment opportunities, and bad economy, and higher electricity, and all of that issue you're going to suffer for the next 5 years. And why are you going to suffer that? Your MP would have been a part of a corruption enterprise where he will steal far more than the 20,000 you get, far more than the 30 million that was squandered across your constituency, where you still have no community center. You still have no job opportunities. You're still living in your squalid condition. Your roof will fall off, you can't fix it. Your house can't finish build. Your child is finishing school but only have 1 or 2 subjects because they never get proper tuition at school and so on. You're going to live with that for the next 5 years. The next 10 years you're going to live with that. But you would have helped somebody to continue to steal from you. The price of the 20,000 you get is going to cost you millions. So you get 20 and it costs you millions in benefits that you have lost because you have voted for the continuation of the corruption, which is robbing you and your children and your grandchildren of the benefits you should have received by good governance.
Future generations, that's facts.
What a crime.
Crime against yourself.
Yes.
Oh.
You have robbed yourself. Now when I come along, you say, well, me don't want Mr. Patterson because him not let off nothing, him tight.
Yeah. See, I learned this
yeah.
from very wealthy folks. It's better to have somebody teach you how to fish than give you fish. And here's why. They can give you 2 refrigerators of fish. At some point the fish is going to finish.
It got done.
It got done. Yeah. But when they teach you how to fish, you'll forever have fish because you know how to go get it yourself.
Absolutely.
The model that the politicians use by, you know, giving these people these monetary bribes, they're just giving them fish. Come
Absolutely. Keep and
a bag of feeding,
yeah,
one box of chicken. Yeah, man, you think, man. But they didn't teach you how to actually earn to go and buy that bag of feeding and buy the chicken. So you're gonna
in
need
fact,
them to give you a bag of chicken and a fall on your
mm,
face again.
mm,
So you're
in fact
always gonna be recurrently dependent on them, and that's
they
the danger.
retard you.
Yeah, they retard you.
They make sure say your community doesn't get developed. Right now, for example, if you live in my constituency, look what's happening around you. There are buildings going up. Who own the buildings? Chinese, 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 Indians, so you're a politician. Right now, the MP in my constituency is helping for the entire constituency to be taken over by foreign interests. Right now, in front of our eye, it happened right now in front of us. You
Yep.
go to Santa Cruz, and the whole place is being taken over. Before the Chinese, it was a few people because they were connected politically. Them get all the land. They own up all the land in the constituency, and they have all the stores. They have the hardware store. They have the grocery store. They have a few set of people because of their political connection, and it mushroom. One man owns several businesses and rent it back out to different people because of the connection. And then today, the same thing is happening again. This time now, it is foreign interest coming in, and they're owning that store and this store. They're building all of it, building. And we say progress. It's not progress, my friend. You are being reduced to a tenant in your own yard.
You spoke about earlier about like trade jobs and stuff like that. I believe you had said that you have you're an engineer, right?
Yes.
You're an engineer, so you already have that mindset. Me personally, shout out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. I watched his platform and I heard him speak about the necessity of having. He lives overseas in the United States, of
Mm,
bringing back trading and coding in schools. You
hmm
know, and that's one of the things that drew me to you, because I heard you mention the same thing about trades, and I don't know why that thing that was taken out. There were more trade schools and everything. They used to push it more. What happened with that? Why you think that
Everything,
was taken away?
everything. We're so mentally bankrupt in this country. Look what we have done. Let's do the math. Most of us went to basic school when we were 3 years old, right?
Right,
So you went to basic school from 3 to 6. That's 3 years. Write it down. 3 years.
right,
Then
true.
they go from primary school now. In a primary school, grade one. Sorry. Yeah, grade one, right? Grade one,
Yeah, grade
two,
one to
three,
five,
four,
6. Yeah,
6. Yeah, grade 1 to 6, right?
right,
So
right.
6 more years. That's 6 more years of primary school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to high school now from grade 7, 8,
7.
9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 7 more years. No, so
Mm-hmm.
16 years of schooling. And watch me carefully. This is gonna blow your mind. So after you have gone to school for 16 solid years, 16 years,
Mm-hmm.
you now must go to heart.
Oh
So,
my
like
goodness!
I'm like,
Wow.
if I'm like,
That's I went to heart. I went to
yeah,
heart. So
how
I can tell you,
backward
he's not lying.
how
That is
backwards
really
can we
the whole
be?
program. Yeah, that's a program. That's a
How
program.
I mean, hold on, watch me again. You have a child who grade 3, right? Sorry, 3 years in basic school, 3 years, and 6 years in primary school, and 7 years in high school. And when you finish those 16 years, you cannot read with understanding.
Mm,
You cannot
mm,
comprehend. You cannot comprehend properly, and you cannot analyze, and you have no skills.
mhm.
Now, for Christ's sake, Mr. Bolo, for Christ's sake, doesn't it make sense that we just make sure it's a basic school work, primary school work, and high school work rather than spending more money again at
It
heart.
makes sense. It makes sense. Why not
Watch
teach
me,
those things in that
of
time
course.
span? It
Watch
should be
me,
in the
watch me,
curriculum. Yeah.
watch me now. Look, listen carefully. You go to basic school, and who teach you at? Be honest with me now. Who teach you at basic school? Do you have a qualified and competent teacher teaching you at basic school?
I mean, for
Honestly,
those
no.
things,
Honestly,
no.
no. I mean, we love our basic school teacher. We love Miss Johnson. She was a wonderful lady who taught me and Miss Dorothy, one of the teachers there. Loved her. Gone to bed when I was going to basic school. But generally speaking, in Jamaica's basic school, the persons who are teaching at the basic school are themselves not really there. Now, here's what one smart leader did in his country. I call the name too much of the country. I won't call it
Oh,
tonight.
Singapore.
Yeah.
I heard Vibes Cartel even mention them in an interview.
Exactly. And I think Vibes Cartel is listening to UIC, but he won't
I
say
think
it yet.
so too. He's a
Yeah,
smart guy.
yeah, I hope him come out soon and just make the deal. Now hear me. Hear me now. If we had leaders like Lee Kuan Yew in our country, at the basic school level, you would have a master's degree teaching our children. You follow me?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
If you suppose, and Lee Kuan Yew did this, suppose you ensure that those little minds from 3 year old to 6 year old are being trained by people who understand children and understand how children learn and build a curriculum and teaching methodologies that accentuate the learning process and bring out the best out of our little 6 year olds at that point. So that when they go to primary school, they are primed and ready. And I'll tell you why I know this will work. When I was a little boy, I spent some time growing up with my grandmother. My grandmother insisted that in order for me to get the comic strip, where we used to love read and, well, watch the cartoon of Conan the Barbarian and Mandrake
No, you're going way back.
yeah, man. But my grandmother said, if you want the comic strip, you must read the headline of the newspaper for me. And she taught me how to pronounce the letters and how to break up the words and then read the headline and read the main story to her. And that's how I got the comic strip. What that meant, by the time I was 3 years old, I was already reading very well.
Mm.
If I can do it, it's very likely that most of our children, with the right help, would have learned. So remember now, at 16, after 16 years, there are many of our kids who still can't read.
Yeah, this is a fact, unfortunately.
Many of them can't. Some of them can read them, but the reading is just counting the words. They can't read with understanding.
Yes,
so if you want, exactly, if you want to bring out the best in your people, make sure so them can read early, and make sure so them can read with understanding, and make sure they can comprehend. Because the comprehension, for example, is you being able to decipher foolishness from even PhD people. So when you have a PhD minister of finance come to tell you foolishness, you can listen to him and decipher the foolishness and say a foolishness that, yes, him use 50 big words maybe, or yes, him talk with confidence maybe, or him flashy maybe, but we can reason it out and say so that's a foolishness. That's what reasoning and comprehension do. So watch me now, carefully. So 3 years old, you make sure so you have highly qualified and trained teachers training our babies. 6 years old, you step it up same way. So primary school, the 6 year period. So by the time you leave primary school, all the basics are in place. You fully understand mathematics fundamentally.
Right.
Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, basic algebra. You understand me?
Right.
Basic binary, and so on. You fix that from primary school. So now you have a master engineer already in the making, a master technician, a master auto mechanic already in the making. a master builder, a master plumber, already in the making. Okay? Then you go to high school now. And at high school now, you master the trades. And you test them out and say which one you want to go into, if any. You understand? And you master, you find your path now. You begin to find your path and you develop the core competencies. Let me tell you one more thing. See if you agree with me.
Right.
Math and English should not be the focal subject.
I
That's what
agree.
they teach us. They say maths and English. Watch me
I
carefully.
agree.
The focal subjects in school must be these three. Number one, understanding yourself. Number two,
Mm,
understanding people. And number
mm.
three, understanding money. Those are the three fundamental subjects because for the rest of your life, if you don't understand yourself, if you don't understand people, and if you don't understand money, you must fail.
That's powerful. Financial
You
literacy.
must
That's
fail.
powerful. That's powerful. Because you have
So,
to interact. You have to interact with
absolutely.
other people. And the best way for you to interact is to first interact with yourself, understanding who you are. That's powerful.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
powerful.
So, those must be your three core subjects in school. Math now, math must be a help to those subjects.
Hmm.
Language, a help to those subjects. And then when you master now the math and English as a part of those subjects, now you learn the various disciplines, the sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, but you must not learn them in silos. You must learn them in an interdisciplinary way so that your brain can connect the cells. There are many Jamaicans who have book knowledge but are practically useless. You
Facts.
follow me?
Facts.
Meaning, you have a person who leave UIC and said that they have done physics, but they still can't fix a basic thing around the house.
That's crazy.
How can you know
Crazy.
physics and don't know mechanics and don't know electronics?
That's literally physics.
How can you learn chemistry and don't know how to deal with the chemicals in your kitchen?
Yes, facts. Fact.
How
That's
can you
crazy.
do biology and don't know how to care for your body?
Yeah. Nutrition. Right.
So follow me carefully. So what they have done to us, they have given us a false version of education. They make education about getting a job when education is supposed to be being the best human being you can be.
Hmm. It's about being on, having you prepare for the plantation, basically.
Yes, education is supposed to bring out the best in you. Why do I pick those three subject areas? When you understand yourself, you understand your mind and how powerful it is and how to use it effectively. You understand your body and how to care for it properly to bring out the best in you mentally and physically. And you understand your character or your type. So you see what's your personality type, and you know so you know your weaknesses and your strengths there. So now, and you understand how to form an effective character. That's where you build moral stamina. That's where you're not being easily swayed by others because you know who you are and where you're going
Mhm.
and why you're going there. So you get that down pat. Self is fully intact. Without self awareness and self control, you're hopeless in this world. And many people are hopeless. That's why so many of us are poor. That's why so many of us are suffering from mental health disorder because we have never learned about ourselves. We've never understood our human composition and our
Man,
capacity mentally, physically, and economically.
no, that is a topic into itself. Mental health in
Yeah,
Jamaica. Sheesh.
yeah. But mental health is directly associated with your education. A poorly educated person will become mentally fatigued, mentally drained, and mentally and morally bankrupt because they have no standard, they have no understanding from which to build on. So that's why I want to make understanding yourself your number one and first topic in school. Number two, though, understanding people. People are critical because your entire life is about relationships, good or bad. Many people just have bad relationships because they don't understand people, right? So you only have bad relationships. When you understand people, you understand personality types, you understand character development, you understand how people think, you understand different races, you understand different cultures. Then now you can form solid relationships, marital. You can marry now and live a good married life because you understand relationships, you understand your spouse, you understand your children and the growing cycle, you understand your neighbors, you understand how to build businesses and form business partnerships, you understand how to deal with foreign people, people from other cultures and countries, because you're not now dogmatic in your religion. You can be a Christian, but you can easily work with a Muslim or a Hindu or a Rastafarian because you're not blinded by the insecurities of a religion that cannot be exposed to others. You understand? So you are now learning and growing in a way that allows you to be a powerful human being because you're not closeted by ignorance. You
Right.
understand? Yeah?
Right.
And so now look what's happening, you know, with the new system I'm talking about. We're liberating our people because our kids now, young adults and adults, would know themselves, understand people, can form lasting relationship. But here's the third one. If you don't understand money, which is half of every transaction you do, you're doomed to failure.
Mhm.
So if you don't understand, for example, inflation and how it works, you'll always miss the mark. You'll forever suffer, and you will never be a business person of any consequence if you
And
ever
it's
try.
so funny that that is not taught in any schools.
No, no. And by the way, if you push them, they'll tell you it's taught. They'll tell you because you're going to see somewhere on some kind of paper where the word is there. For example, when I was going to school, they had a class called life skill. I don't know if they had that in your era. A class
Mm.
called life skill. I was driving with my wife the other day. I said to her, because she was at school with me, went to school together. I met my wife
Wow,
in the
that's
eighth.
beautiful.
Oh yeah, I met my wife in the eighth grade. So we have been together for years now.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
last July made 30 years that we have been married to each other, and we have been knowing each other for over 40 years. So you know, but back to the main thing here. We're riding in the car. And I said to her, "Honey, do you remember what you learned in life skill class?" She said, "There was such a class." I said, "Yes, man." I said, "Remember, we used to have like," and I said, "Do you remember anything at all from it?" She says, "No, nothing at all, not one thing." I said, "That's because even though it may be on the curriculum,
Name, yes.
yeah,
It never
yeah,
had the impact. It never had the impact.
exactly, because
I understand what you're saying.
it wasn't a serious subject. It was
Mm-hmm.
something you kind of do
Fluff.
on the fringe, on the edge
Yeah.
somewhere." And
Right.
so even though they might, for example, even civics, I've heard people say they need to bring back civics. Even if they brought back civics, what they would do would give you,
Somebody says the mic is too close. Just put it away a
oh,
little bit. Yeah, man. Yeah,
thank
man.
you, thank you. They would give you an insipid civics, meaning you would learn, you would learn just enough where you say, I did civics, but you won't understand any of it. You won't really know what you really learned, what it really means, how to use it for decision making, how to interpret what's happening in your daily life. You wouldn't know. They'll teach you, for example, they'll say Jamaica is a constitutional monarchy. You have a governor general, you have a prime minister, you have a bicameral legislature, upper house, lower house. We have elections within a 5-year cycle. Some basic memory stuff, nothing to tell you what's really going on, what's really happening, how is it really impacting you, how does that, what you want to learn in politics in school, you want to understand what happened in 1980. Why did we kill 800 of ourselves? Why did Manly fail? What were the issues between Manly and the USA? What created those frictions? How did Manly deal with it? Could he have dealt with it differently or not? What was the role of Siaga? What was his connections? What was he trying to do? What was his philosophy? What was his background? That's how you get people beyond just the optics of saying you've studied something in school. You need substance. You need to understand the players, the motivations of the players, the interaction of the players, the impact of their decisions. For example, no child in Jamaica knows what is FinSac and what it really means. No child that went to school understand what did FinSAC really do to Jamaica's economy? What created the problems that caused FinSAC? Who were the main players? What were the policies of the day that created the conditions for that problem? Who were the winners and the losers? None of that is taught in school. So today we're going to the polls. In 2025, we're going to have an election. Many of you are going to go and vote, but you will be as dumb as an ox. You won't understand or know any reason at all why you should never re-elect the PNP and why you cannot afford to re-elect the JLP. You won't know because you're simply going off frivolous, topical, hearsay discussions, but nothing substantive. You have not been taught in school what really happened in 1944, what really happened in 1962, what really happened in 1972 and 76, what really happened in 1980, what really happened in the 1990s. You have no idea. You have no idea that in the 1990s we had a high interest rate policy. What does that mean? How does that affect the price of bread? You don't know. And that is why I said, if we don't make sure our people have a proper education, they'll continue to vote against their own interest. You're muted.
Yeah, thank you. I said I think that lack of education is intentionally done. It is my view that if you have, it's way easier to control a group of illiterate people than it is to control a group of educated people.
Absolutely.
And
you can tell your leaders. So for example, here's a good leader, Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. He highly educated his people, which means he wasn't afraid. A leader and that's why he was re-elected for 30 years.
Yeah.
So a good leader wants you to know. A bad leader doesn't want you to know.
Right.
And that's why whether it's Andrew Holness or Mark Goldin or Portia Simpson or PJ Patterson or Bruce Goldin or Daniel Sangster or Hugh Shearer or Michael Manley or Buster Manty or Norman Manley, none of them has ever come and do what I am doing. None of them. You go and check the history books. Michael Manley come on and talk about the CIA and how they mash up him thing. He has never educated Jamaican people about what I'm talking about. He simply blames somebody else when it's his fault. Because Lee Kuan Yew faced the same problems that Manley faced, but he navigated it by focusing on empowering his people.
Who is that?
Sorry?
Who is that you just mentioned? Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew. He's the first prime minister of Singapore.
Oh, so you're saying that he basically faced those same challenges of outside entities trying to come in and do all of that.
Same. But guess what? Remember, here's the thing.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
And that many Jamaicans don't know this. That
I did not know that.
Singapore is the best comparison to make is between Jamaica and Singapore, the best one, because both of those countries at the very same time face the exact same challenges. Now, Jamaica, to be fair, Jamaica had less problems than Singapore.
Really?
Oh yes.
What?
So we had a much better position than they did, but they still did better than us because they had a great leader, and the PAP, the People's Action Party in Singapore, they were truly and unequivocally committed to the salvation of their people. And that's the difference. They wanted to see, you see, Manley comes across as very sincere, he speaks very well, extremely charismatic, he shows empathy, he connected with the people, but Manley misled the people. I know many people don't want to hear this, and and my PNP friends, they don't want to hear this, but I am
sure they don't. Because no, listen, from what I've heard from many elders, that is the one individual in both parties that is untouched from any criticism. He was a saint in their eyes. So I need you to send me any link towards the historical references of Singapore, because I
Yes.
would love to go over them. Because
It's all there.
very
You just Google it, or I go to YouTube. But listen to me carefully. I'll give you one example. In the 1970s, heading into 1980, Manley had a choice to make. The choice was simple. Do I put my head down and don't get involved in the war between Russia and America and just focus on my people? He chose to do what was suicidal for the people of Jamaica by getting up and creating anxiety with America over Jamaica's position in the Cold War.
So that's what created the situation with
absolutely,
Cuba, and so the CIA got involved.
Absolutely. If you're going to, you can be when you're in a particular, let's say you're in a group, you're in a community, you can either be an antagonist or you can be a peacemaker, right?
Right.
So you can choose that you're going to be a peacemaker and not be an antagonist. You can choose that you're not going to make any inflammatory statements, or you can choose to make inflammatory statements.
Right.
You can choose to quietly engage in diplomacy, or you can behave undiplomatically. Yeah? Okay. Lee Kuan Yew chose all of the positive side of what I just said. So he said to USSR at the time, listen guys, I can't tell you how to run your country or what you want to do with your philosophy, but if you're willing to trade with Singapore, we're willing to trade with you. Then he goes to America and he says, America, I hear you, I see what you're trying to say, and I know you have a problem with the Russians and stuff. I can't tell you how to run your foreign policy or whatever, but if you want to trade with Singapore, Singapore is willing to trade with you. Manley, on the other hand, decided that he needs to make powerful statements about who is his friends and why he needs to be, he's a friend of Castro and whatever. Now, Castro was in a precarious position because he was very tight with the USSR, and the USSR were trying to get missiles into his country, which would be pointed at the US. So it's a very inflamed situation.
Right.
Now, Manley had no need at all to further inflame that situation. None whatsoever. No need for bravado. No need to beat your chest. No need to call attention to how close you are with Castro. No need at all. What you have to do...
Isn't that the same mistake that the current Prime Minister made?
Absolutely.
With Israel?
Absolutely. Oh, now, the good thing is that case is not as bad as the one with Manley because of that's a little bit more serious. So now, here's what happened. Remember, back in that time now, Jamaica, as it is today, and more so then, was a heavily indebted nation. We're borrowing money left, right, and center. Most of the borrowing were coming from the United States or countries affiliated with the United States. So anything you're going to do to endanger your relationship with the United States is a direct economic impact on Jamaica, because you're going to cause your major lenders to withhold loans now to you, since you have built a loan-dependent country. You follow me?
Right.
Also, Jamaica benefited greatly from grants. We love grants. We love handouts. So anywhere it comes from, yeah, we love it. So we love get handouts from Canada, and we actually love to think that countries like us, that countries love us. Oh, Canada like us because they give foolishness. Nobody likes you. No country likes you. Every country wants to use you.
Exactly.
Okay. So your job is to
be an ulterior motive.
Of course. So your job, and this is what Lee Kuan Yew did. Lee Kuan Yew didn't depend on loans and grants and handouts. He focused on building his economy and his people. Now, our government, and under Manley, like others, they're looking for the handouts and the loans. So the complaint now is, IMF needs to give us better terms, need to do better. You're giving us loans and then tying our hands or whatever, and you cry baby and whatever. Fix your country, man. Fix your country and forget about IMF and trying to get them to give you whatever. But watch
And
me.
tell you what, when
Yeah,
they do it that way, these countries will have more respect for us.
Exactly what happened for Singapore. They're now highly respected because they learned to manage their own affairs. Now watch me carefully. Now Manley, while he is doing this bravado thing and showing off and how him going to stand with him friend and you can't tell me who to be my friend and I'm not going to go through my life on my knees and whatever, all kind of bravado statement. Remember, your hand is in the lion's mouth. Can you box the lion while your hand is in his mouth? Can you spit in the lion's face while your hand is in his mouth?
Do that.
Can you shout at the lion while your hand is in his mouth? That was suicidal. And we paid the price for Michael Manley's stupidity, for his arrogance, for his lack of diplomacy. And I know we don't want to talk about it, want to hide from it, and because we know that him love poor people. If you love poor people, do the right things for poor people. Make them no longer poor. Teach them how to become.
Make them no longer dependent on you.
Teach them how to become wealthy. If you love poor people and you don't love people. Don't love poor people. Love people.
Yeah, overall.
So all Jamaicans, rich and poor, all of us want a Jamaica that is safe, rich or poor. All of us want a Jamaica that is clean and pretty and beautiful, rich or poor. We don't want to be walking in sewage water in our streets like in Luke Lane and Beeston Street down Kingston there and Coronation Market look dirty and smelly. None of us wants that, rich or poor. Those from uptown want to go down to Coronation Market and it's a nice market, a clean market,
basically
a beautiful market
that we all can agree on whether we are rich or poor.
Yes. So care about the people of Jamaica and give us all a safe Jamaica. Give us all a clean Jamaica. Give us all an orderly Jamaica. Give us all a Jamaica where the economy is designed from the bottom up, that empowers the small man to do his absolute best. A system of meritocracy where you benefit based on merit, not based on connection.
Man, I want to ask you about taxes.
Yes.
As it's presently constructed, compared to what you have, in place in your plans for the country, because the tax. One thing I noticed, Jamaicans aren't really educated about tax. I myself not enough, obviously. I won't put myself in there. Like tax returns and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're not really educated in that. So, how is the UIC going to what plans you have in place in regards to the taxation or the high levels of taxation? And the other question is, what's the energy plan?
Oh, that's the big one. So let's go with taxation first.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. That's a big. So for taxation now, very simple, very very simple. We want to get rid of the foolishness we currently have as a tax system today. It's convoluted, it's complicated, it's unnecessary, it is rigged. Okay? So we're gonna do away with the current. We're not even gonna try to fix it because it's like trying to fix. You ever have a let's say you build something, you build a sandcastle on the beach, and somebody pass and kick it over. It's best way to just build it again because there's no point. So the tax system is too convoluted.
I think a better example will have a 1911 car and trying to fix the engine.
Absolutely.
I think you should get a new car.
Absolutely. So and even that is better than the tax system we're talking about. So here.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So here the UIC is going to completely obliterate the existing tax system. And you're going to have just two tax in Jamaica going forward. Can you imagine that?
When you said that, I can tell that there are some people in high places that their blood just boiled a while ago.
Absolutely.
Just hearing this, I can feel the energy behind the obliteration. To be honest with you.
We're going to take a big sledgehammer and just mash it up completely. And so what's going to happen now, instead of all of the confusion and all of the various taxation that trick us and take a whole heap of our income away and tell us that government needs revenue and we're going to get money from to do this. Jamaica has all the money in the world. That's why the banks are making billions. If Jamaica didn't have the money, the banks would be making billions. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have two taxes only. Number one, we're going to have an income tax. Not the kind of tax, the one they have now. A real income tax. And it's going to be 10% that every single solitary citizen pay on all income sources that they have. Every single Jamaican. Whether there'll be no exemption from taxes. And the reason why you need to do that, all of us want a safe, clean, and orderly Jamaica, a pretty Jamaica, all the way have to pay a fee. There should be no thing where you say some people don't pay any tax. That's a very bad mental design.
Yeah, it's like everybody live for free.
Exactly. Everybody know that we all have a part to play in the road we drive on, in the police service we depend on. So 10% flat tax across. So if you make $100, you pay $10. You make $1,000, you pay $100. You make $1 million, you pay 100,000. So as you go up, the richer you are, you're paying 10% of your riches.
It's a percentage thing. You don't have nothing to do.
Yeah, nothing more. There's no up and down foolishness. No thresholds. No, you get this and you get this, and because all that is a smokes and mirror. All of that is a trick. All of the but you're giving this to this person and that to that person. It's all a trick. So first of all, 10% tax. Everybody pay it right across the board. Now, if we didn't have the extreme poverty and the destructive policies of the last 80 years plus 400 years of slavery, we'll just stop there at the 10% tax. But because we have a lot of inbuilt inequities and inbuilt poverty, and a lot of people have been made to unnecessarily suffer, we have another tax, which will be the GCT, which we're going to call a sales tax. That will also be 10%. So down from 15% to 10%. But the way we're going to use this tax now, this tax is dedicated to eliminating poverty once and for all. Dedicated. So we're not going to play games about NHTU over here, so NIS over there, so education tax over all kind of food. One tax dedicated to eliminating poverty. How do we eliminate poverty? Every child gets the nutrition that they need to succeed. So we're going to focus on nutrition to make sure our kids have the right brain development to learn. Healthcare, every child gets proper healthcare, full healthcare from prenatal care. So before you're even born, we check on you and make sure say you're in good, you're growing properly. And of course, for that you have to make sure proper nutrition for the mother, right? So nutrition, healthcare, education. Our education policy now is no matter how rich or poor you are, you will get the highest degree of education that you can manage. So if you can make it to PhD level, the system is committed. The only way you don't get there is if you can't manage it. So
the money wouldn't be a factor then.
No, money is not going to be a factor. So
that's the ultimate investment in the actual citizen.
Absolutely, and we're talking about from basic school level. We're not going to joke. We want at the basic school level, you want masters and PhD level educators caring for our young minds. So we're going to invest in education on a level never before seen, where from the cradle to the grave, we're giving you maximum opportunity to achieve your best. So suppose let's say you have 3 children in a household. One child, they can only make it to being a plumber based on their own. We're all not. We are just life, right? We all don't have the same capabilities. So his job, he makes it to being let me change it. One of them makes it to be somebody who works in the maintenance department of the public works department. So they do landscaping, for example, and stuff like that, because that's all they can, that's the level they can manage. Another child in that household, he makes it to being a plumber or electrician or carpenter. That's the level he can manage, right? And another one, he makes it to being an engineer. Same household, but based on their capabilities, we're funding them up to their capabilities. You follow me? So we end up with you get the best. Good. So nutrition, healthcare, education, and finally housing. Our housing policy is where we don't see housing as an investment, where you buy investment property. We're going to focus first on making sure that every single family in Jamaica has a decent dwelling. I'm an accountant. I've done the math. I know how to make it work. And just so you know, Lee Kuan Yew did it before me. He
That
has
means there's a model to show you how it's done.
absolutely, and that model isn't perfect, but it resulted in more than 90% of the Singaporean people owning their own homes.
Wow,
Okay,
that is success.
right, and it's
That
not
is
perfect. So we are going to build on that model and even make it more perfect. And we are committing to making sure that every single Jamaican whose ancestors were enslaved on this island will become a property owner. That's a promise. It's more than a promise. It is your birthright. Okay? So we're going to make that happen. So every child, nutrition, healthcare, education, and housing. Mr. Bolo, if you give any family those four basic things in place, we can't lose.
there's no excuse for failure
Exactly.
at that
We
point.
can't lose. So that's what the 10% GCT is going to ensure. Now, as poverty declines, that GCT will remain in place and becomes a buffer now for emergency. So we're going to develop what is called a sovereign wealth fund from the difference. And that wealth fund now ensures that we're always prepared for a burial or an earthquake or a typhoon or whatever other natural disaster, pandemic, whatever can come. We're going to be financially prepared for it by building this fund. We're also going to be using that fund to ensure the environment is maintained. So, for example, we're going to do away with bauxite mining. As soon as I am elected, bauxite mining becomes illegal in this country.
It's very interesting that you went there because I was
Yeah.
going to go there. But I really wanted to find out what were your thoughts on Jamaica is such a small country, and the effects of bauxite mining on the environment. I mean, if you do your research, it's nothing good.
It's
You understand what
devastating.
I'm saying? It's
Devastating.
devastating,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and it takes hundreds and hundreds of years, if not more, for the earth in that area to recover from
It's
that
not
type of
even
thing.
it's not even recoverable.
Even so, I mean, there might be a minute
Yeah.
chance, point something, something, something chance of recovery, but it's a
You
very
see,
small.
remember when bauxite mining, you're doing two things. You're taking away a piece of your land, right? That's non-recoverable. So the land is gone. So you've taken that earth away, gone. Okay, that's number one. What you leave behind now are toxins, toxic sludge. So you create mud lakes of inert matter, sludge that is poisonous. The dust from it is cancerous, okay, and dangerous. So you have destroyed your farmland. So you've taken farmland, which is your food security, and you have now removed that land, that soil, and you have wrenched it of its nutrients, and then you have put the poisonous toxic sludge back on the earth, and that's what we will live with forever. The chemical particles that go into the air now makes many people sick. They don't even know why they're sick. They don't know that is why they're sick. So even if they move from the area and move to Manchester or move to Clarendon or move to Kingston, that disease, that sickness is already inside of them. The damage is done and they have no idea. One day it manifests itself and it draws upon our healthcare system and depletes our healthcare resources while we're trying to fix the damage done by that. Brain damage to children born from parents who have been so damaged by the chemicals. Okay? your water is contaminated, and you may not know. Okay, you drink it, and you don't even know that you're drinking contamination. Okay,
that's one of my biggest concerns. Our water
yeah.
supply.
Your fish, the fish that go and some people go catch some fish from the river. They have no idea they're eating their death because the fish is polluted. The fish is damaged. So the farmer has lost his farmland. Our food security has declined as a result. Our water is contaminated. Our air is contaminated. Our land is contaminated and is non-renewable for the damage that was done there. Our healthcare system is taxed because of the impact on the people who are suffering. Families lose income because of that and lose the benefit of the mental development of even their children because of the damage done. So the cost of this bauxite mining by far outweighs the puny dollar benefit that again is concentrated in the hands of a few who make themselves wealthy, but the dribbles and drop of that little bauxite money does really very little for the rest of the Jamaican people. Yeah. So we're going to ban that. And of course, I know that the powers that be, when they hear that, I mean, I am immediately a big X go through my face.
You are public enemy number one.
Yeah. X, you can't win. But remember, we can win if 500,000 Jamaicans join me and run on the website now and go and sign up and say, me want to join the UIC. I'm a member. I'm a volunteer. I'm going to pay my dues $250 a week or $1,000 a month. And if the overseas $10 US a month, and we get a volume of 500, then we the people of the chat now, Bolo. Because them can't stop winning. No matter how much money they pay now to buy the election, if we have 500,000 strong members, them can't stop we.
Yo, that's a month.
No matter how much money them come with, when as they watch the number of our membership go up, those guys in the boardrooms, the PSOJ oligarchs, they will be dropping something in their pants. Those guys in the two parties, right now, I tell you the truth, right now they're very worried. They're watching me closely and watching the UIC's development closely. And they will send more infiltrators again to try to break us. But they're watching because they are scared to death that this message gets out to all Jamaicans.
Right.
If all of us watching this now were to share this and make sure we double share it and call all our family members everywhere, UK, Canada, US, Manchester, Westmoreland, Hanover, and say, watch this, and go join the UIC now. They would be, without one gunshot, without one drop of blood, we would carry out a revolution in this country that would make Marcus Garvey proud.
Quiet storm. Let me ask you this, the devil's advocate again, because we have to put it in. Because I don't want nobody feel like they're softball. I just agree with most of the things that you're actually saying. Yeah. And I'm listening to what you're saying very carefully, and I would love to see what you're saying actually manifests in real time. In terms of the accounting thing and money, what the account of the money and what it's used for, is that transparent? Can people go
very
and
good
see?
Very good. Now the UIC is the most transparent political party in the history of Jamaica. And I'll tell you why. Think about it carefully. No other party has been scrutinized like us by the other two. Let me break it down for our viewers carefully. Remember, the other two parties created the rules for what you must do to become a political party.
Facts.
Those two parties also sit on the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, which governs political party. The UIC is not even on that board. They've excluded us. Remember, we're a registered party and we're not a part of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
They don't recognize it.
Watch me carefully, man. This is serious now. I want Jamaicans to understand this. They recognize us, but they exclude us. They recognize us because they have to, because we are registered. But I want you to understand the significance of that. Watch carefully. Go look it up online. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica. Look for the members on that board, on that commission. All of them or from the PNP and GLP, every single solitary one of them. They sit on that board, on that commission. They control all political parties in Jamaica. They can demand any record, anytime from any party. So every year, we have to submit to them our audited financial statements every single solitary year. They can request anything they want of us at any time.
How much members are there?
In the UIC, well,
No,
it
no, no, no,
varies.
no. On the electoral
I think
commission.
about 9. I think there are about 9 members on the commission.
Right.
You know,
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
And they are the two political parties get to appoint their 2 representatives directly. The Prime Minister appoint the rest with some kind of conflation with the Governor General, which, you know, the Governor General is neither here nor there. Is really a part of the political machinery. So everybody on that commission are against the UIC. Every single person on there. In fact, we have a very adversarial relationship with the the registrar of political parties. She has always been adversarial with the UIC, always from day one. I have to push and battle with them on everything. Even the other day, they had some Commonwealth people come in, some foreigners come in, but they're doing a consultation on how to improve our electoral system, and they gave us 1 hour out of the entire several days of consultancy. They gave us 1 hour shared with another group to come and make our talk. And when we make our talk, they couldn't deal with it because we showed them that the system they have in place is a lie, it's fraudulent, and it's cheating the Jamaican people. And they quickly shut that down and move on.
So
okay?
From what you're saying to me then, there's no way you could be doing any funny business because
no
they're just
waiting
waiting for you to do something.
Absolutely. And we don't do anything different from any other well-run organization. We have an accounting system that can be audited. It records all incomes and all expenditures.
Right.
We have a filing system where we have the documentation to support every expenditure. For every transaction, it is authorized by 3 signing officers: Mr. Winston Wright, Mr. Chase Neal, and Mr. Ika Williams. They are the signing officers on our account. I'm not a signing officer on the account. My wife is not a signing officer on their account. They are the signing officers. We have a finance committee that vets the financial process of the organization. Of course, I'm a trained CPA, so I put these things in place. I make sure that we're au fait when it comes on to financial management.
Right,
yeah.
Sorry, you did mention that you had some experience in that area in Canada, right?
A lot of experience. I mean, I have served in government in Canada, a director of financial reporting and controls with a budget of over 2 billion Canadian dollars. So I know I come across as an ordinary guy or whatever, but I've honestly dealt with very significant transaction and issues, you know. So I'm not foreign to dealing with money, and the monies of the UIC has been peanuts compared to what I have had access to and what I have dealt with outside of the UIC, and still deal with it. When I was the chairman for the board for an international organization that does microfinancing globally in over 70 countries, the budget was, or the portfolio was $146 billion.
Wow.
So this is like, this is peanuts. And you have people who go out there and try to, you know, smear my character, and you have foolish people who would believe them. Come on. I mean, I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to do this. I don't need $1 from the UIC.
When I really think about you even getting locked up in the pandemic,
that alone cost me $2 million.
What?
Yeah, that alone cost me $2 million.
No, I have well, not a friend, but a supporter that had mentioned that one of the issues that she had with that situation is that you didn't do a lawful protest. Is that accurate?
Let me rephrase that for her. Was it legal to have slaves? Back in the day, was it legal to have slaves?
No. Well,
back in the day when they had slaves. Was legal, right? It was so.
Right.
Does something being legal make it right?
No, no.
Good. So that is the way they manage our minds. What is a lawful protest in Jamaica? A lawful protest in Jamaica is where you go to the government through the police and ask permission to protest. That's a lawful protest. Ridiculous.
I really have a problem with that. Because
Ridiculous.
The purpose of the protest is to actually rebel
Protest against the government.
Doing. So why would I ask you permission, and two, why would I expect you to give me permission?
In fact, they said it. They said no permission was requested and none would be given.
So therefore, they wouldn't have even given to you. So it didn't make any sense to even ask.
Exactly. So was it go to South Africa when they had apartheid? If Nelson Mandela and his team had only done what the apartheid government permitted, South Africa would still be an apartheid country today.
Yes, that's facts. That's
so it takes a certain degree of either ignorance or stupidity to say that what we did on September 22nd wasn't lawful. It was not lawful because the law was wrong.
Yeah.
Just like how the law that supported slavery was wrong, and Paul Bogle was right to march, and Nanny was right to rebel, and Sam Sharp was right to object, and George William Gordon was right to say no. In the same way, it is right for us to rebel against injustice. If somebody come and say, we're going to be a part of a collusion to suppress free speech so that people can't talk freely about this so-called pandemic. We can't talk freely. We're not going to allow free speech. We're going to say, if you disagree, you're misinforming and we're going to shut you down. And your government is going to support that. Somebody's going to say, we're going to bribe people to take something because we know some of them hungry and they want something. So we're going to give them pizza to come and give up their bodily autonomy. But we're going to say your kids can't come to school unless you take this. You're going to have a minister of health saying that we're not going to address your water concerns in your constituency until you take the job.
Listen, I will never forgive that man for that. I will never forgive that man for that statement. I don't know if Jamaicans understand the gravity of what that man said in the moment he said it and what it means. This man should be eliminated, I mean, in terms of his qualifications for even being in government. After saying something like that.
He should be fired. He should have been fired.
Immediately.
But guess what? If you fire him, you'd have to fire the Prime Minister too.
Well, that's true.
So because they're not one and the same, he stays. The Prime Minister says he's not going to mandate it. And watch me now, this Prime Minister, just like Mr. Golden, they're all the same thing. Watch what he has done. He colluded with the PSOJ oligarchs to say, employers, you force them to take it. Me not go pass a law and say me a mandate because that fellow the Patterson going to give me too much trouble. So what we're going to do, employers, you do it through the back door. Tell the employee them can't come to work and can't unless them take it. So we're going to mandate it indirectly. Okay? And they cause many, and in the police, well, we run the police. You have to take it in the police if you want to keep your job and if you want any promotion. Right now, you can't get promotion in the army. Right now, you cannot get a promotion in the army unless you take the job. The joke.
I mean, Jamaica is so backward.
Yeah.
Because if you look at what has happened in the United States, Fauci went in front of the Congress and said, listen, I made this stuff up. Right? That should have disqualified everything. Whatever they're doing now, they should be shut down after hearing that alone.
The point is, our government.
Many people are suing in the United States. People have got back their jobs in the army and they're actually getting money because they were in error and they were wrong. But we still have Jamaica following these same foolish stuff.
But we are about to elect two parties, one of the two of them, that have been in lockstep with these draconian measures
Right.
and shameful act. And they're doing it again. Right now, they're doing it with NIDS.
Oh man, I'm glad you touched on that.
So right now, they're again trying to force the Jamaican people into something which we never asked for. The Prime Minister never campaigned on a manifesto that says he's going to do this to the Jamaican people when he's elected.
Yeah, that was
There was
not.
no
That was not-
campaign where he said so that we elected him to do that, but he's going to do this. And now he's going to, as I predicted years ago, I told them remember when they brought NIDS in, they said to us, we're going to mandate it. You know, the Prime Minister is very dictatorial. Eh? He loves to begin first by dictating. And when now him get cornered, like he tried to, you know, he tried to have the senators. Remember, him already control the senators, you know, and him still want them to sign undated resignation letters, just in case anyone decide to defy him. He would just whip out the letter and sign it and say, "You're resigned." Right? So this Prime Minister is a very dangerous guy, right? So here's what he did now. When he backed off the NIDS because he was taken to court by the opposition side. Them love play games, you know. When they're not in the government, they do things to kind of make us feel like they're with us. They're not with us. They're simply playing the game of good cop, bad cop, but you must still elect one of those cops. Exactly. So they went to court and whatever, and the court says no, that would be a violation of the right. So the Prime Minister back off and say, okay, we're going to wheel and come again. What will they do now? Very simple. They put the NIDS in and put their nice campaign around it, and guess what they'll do? If you want a job with any of their PSOJ oligarchy companies, you're going to hear, where is your NIDS? We need it as part of your thing to say that we can hire you. Where's your NIDS? You don't have one? Okay, it won't be. Just like they can say with the injection. Oh, you don't have that? Okay, we can't hire you. If you want to be hired, you need to have that. Then you go to the bank.
Qualifications you need.
Yes. Then you go to the bank now, and the bank will say, "Oh yes, we can open an account for you. Name, yes, that. Where's your NIDS? Your NIDS number? You don't have a NIDS? Oh, we
can't. That
would be. Yeah, you know, you need to get a NIDS number. They're gonna hurricane relief program. We want to give out some money for hurricane relief now.
Wild. That is so wild.
Where is the NIDS now? You see, if you had NIDS, you'd have been able to get the money so easy and quick, you know, if you had the NIDS, but because you don't have it, it's not very easy for us to give this money out.
Oh my God.
So these guys, and by the way, don't think that if tomorrow we elect Mr. Golden, this changes. It doesn't change. Whether it's Andrew or Golden, the very same tactics will be used. I'll give you an example.
I would love for Mr. Mark Golden to open up his platform, not just to me. I'm talking about the online town hall meeting to have these pertinent questions. Why isn't there a debate between you three gentlemen? What happened to debates?
They're afraid of me. They're hiding. We're inviting them to Saturday's debate. Hopefully they'll come and we'll have a discussion. So they've been invited to Saturday's debate coming up, both Mr. Golden and Mr. Holness. But let me tell you this. People, don't be fooled. Mark Golden will not do any different than Mr. Holness. Now, his style might be different. It's just like back in the days of Edward Seaga and Patterson. Patterson had a better style than Seaga. Seaga's style wasn't very warm and welcoming to the people in the way that Patterson was far more skillful. PJ was far more skillful at playing upon his blackness, being the Fresh Prince, Black Man Time now, and he was less adversarial than Mr. Seaga. Seaga was more attacking and aggressive, and he was more passive and conciliatory, but deadly. It was under PJ Patterson's leadership that we had the largest transfer of wealth from the poor and middle class to the rich during the banking crisis and FinSac. He oversaw the biggest destruction of the middle class in Jamaica with his nice, quiet, calm, sweet self. You understand?
Yeah, because he's slick.
Yeah, man, very slick.
He's a personality.
Yes. But don't be fooled by the slickness.
He's a smooth
Exactly.
criminal. Yeah.
So don't be fooled by the slickness. So don't be fooled by Mark Golden's calm demeanor. He doesn't carry the same, the prime minister, to be honest with you, is not very endearing. Not a very endearing person.
Mm.
And over the years he has gotten worse because I think, the whole thing is taking a toll. Sometimes I'm sorry for him, to be honest with you. When I think of the kind of things that he's doing and have to keep a straight face with it and try to pretend as if he really cares about the Jamaican people, I'm sorry for him, and his wife and others who partake in this destruction of the Jamaican people while pretending to care about them. But don't be fooled by Mark Golden. When he comes in, remember, both of them are controlled by the same master. So look behind the two of them. Don't look at them. Look behind them. And the PSOJ oligarchy controls both of them. And if Mark step out of line, they will just pull back the money for his campaign. And if Andrew step out of line, they'll just pull back the money for his campaign. And they might even instigate their takedown. So any one of them step out of line, and because they're allowed a certain latitude, they're allowed to criticize each other and play the game of partisan politics to divide us and distract us. But if they step out, if any one of them were to pursue the path I am pursuing of truly educating and empowering the Jamaican people, immediately they're cut off from the PSOJ funding, and they have no chance of winning.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's levels. There's levels. There's definitely levels. I see that we could go on and on and on. And on. We've been here for 3 hours.
Oh, time to stop.
I think we need to do a part 2 whenever you are available.
Absolutely. Well, let's ask our viewers. No, I can't see them because I'm not using the usual platform. But let them rate the program. Let them tell us if they like what they heard. If this was meaningful to them, give us 100%. If it was less than meaningful, give us something less. So 100 mean with this was useful, enlightening, meaningful. 50 mean it's so. Less than 50 mean we need to wheel and come again. So give us your thoughts, people, on the platform. I can't see it, but you can tell me, Bolo, what you see there.
You probably could have one of your administrators do a poll. They can do a poll, and people can vote that way, and then you check the poll and see how they're,
Sure, but for now, they can tell us. They can tell us in the comment section, can't they?
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple hundreds coming up.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
and if any bad ones, anybody saying it was horrible, like a 50% or.
I'm only seeing hundreds right now.
Okay.
Somebody said 90. All right, I like that. I like that because everything can be improved.
Yeah,
we're not thin-skinned. All right, so be honest about your judgment.
Absolutely.
Were my questions good? Did you like the questions? People. I hope I asked.
I think they were great.
That can definitely open up the eyes.
I'm just sorry I couldn't be on my. I'm using my phone here, which is not the best.
Yeah,
which is not the best,
we worked through it. I think we did great.
Yeah. So I was using my mobile data as opposed to my regular thing here, but we had to get it done. So sorry for the interruptions at the beginning where the weather was horrible in the beginning section here. But I think we got through some key things.
There's a lot more there to actually touch on.
I want to touch on in our next meeting. I want to look at our energy policy.
Yes.
So energy for sure. I mean, the UIC has a solution that will ensure we're food secure, water secure, and energy secure. When you have those 3 things, nobody can touch you.
Food security. Oh my God! Listen, I trust me. I've listened to you, so I know, and I'm like, yes, I'm with this energy plan. I like this because you spoke about the wind energy, the water, all of the natural, and I'm like, the sun. Why hasn't these 2 governments, for all these years, not even tapped into that at all? And when you look at all the other countries around the world, there's so many examples of it. So it's like, do they even care? Is it part of the plan? Did they even consider it? I start asking myself these questions, as a concerned citizen of Jamaica. It's just
Yeah.
negligence. In my opinion, it's just total negligence.
Here's how much they care. They care so much that we went from owning our own utility company to now foreigners owning our utility company. That's how much they care. I
Oh
mean,
my,
I cannot think of a more incompetent, destructive set. Mr. Bolo, remember, we lose our agricultural sector. Foreigners come in and
yes,
even own our sugar company. We lose our railway. They couldn't manage the railway. The railway, they lose a railway. Jamaica need a railway. They couldn't manage the railway. Jamaica need an airline. They couldn't manage the airline, Mr. Bolo. We don't have the airline. Jamaica needs airport. They couldn't manage the airport. We lease out the airport to other companies to run it. We had a very good, at one point, a very good public transportation system. They couldn't manage that. That gone to the dogs. And we have a very messed up system now there. Not even our own money we print, Polo. We don't print our money. Our money is printed by foreigners. So what we have them for? It's like you having a company, Bolo. You have a company and you hire a set of managers. And the company can no longer produce the product that they were used to produce. They have to farm it out to another company to do the production. They can't manage their HR team. They have to hire another company to manage the HR team. They can't manage research and development. They have to hire another company. Why would you have that management in place? Why would you have a management in place that can't manage nothing? They can't manage our water. They can't manage our energy. They can't manage our food. They can't manage our police. They can't manage our housing. Not even our roads they can't manage. We're now driving on roads that are owned by foreigners, for which we have to pay a toll to ride and drive on our own roads. And the toll we pay is not even to we now. Now we get the toll money. The toll money go to a foreigner who take it out of the country. How can
terrible,
you say, like,
terrible.
I could split the head of our people for them to understand and see all that I'm saying. How can you, the PNP, all of you, we're going to vote for the PNP. You're absolutely insane. The PNP is the only political party that has gotten 18 and a half years straight to fix this country, and they failed miserably. The JLP is the only party in this country who has ever gotten an election where they win every single seat. The JLP has won every single seat. All back then it was 60 seats. The JLP had all 60 seats and all 20. What was it now? 21 Senate seat. They had the entire country in their hands and could have transformed this country. 100% of the seat. The JLP has always been given the first opportunity to fix this country. In 1944, they won the first 2 terms when we got the right to vote. So if anybody could put Jamaica on the right path and win our confidence, like Lee Kuan Yew won the confidence of his people, the JLP had that chance in 1944. They won the first election by a landslide. The
Wow,
PNP got about 6 seats out of the
wow,
entire seat. So the
wow.
JLP had 2 solid terms to prove to us, and they failed. In
Mm,
1962, again, when we're now becoming a so-called independent country, the JLP had the first chance as independent Jamaica to give us the best possible Jamaica, that we would never vote for anybody but them. And they
right.
used the first 2 terms to thief more money and lose our confidence, and we vote them out and put in the PNP. And sorry, Mr. Bola, I know we need to go, but I want our listeners, our hearers, to understand what I'm saying here. So
Yeah, man.
in that case, the JLP had 2 10-year terms, right? 2 5 and 5, 10, 2 terms, and another 2. 20 years they got. The first 10 years of every major change in Jamaica, they got it. The JLP. Major, 1944 was a major change
Right,
from full colonialism to self-governance. The JLP got that first shot at it. 10
right.
years and failed. Independence, the JLP got the first 10 years and failed. And then the PNP that told us that they put people first, that they care and love the poor, and that give them a chance and they will give us progress. and they had 18 and a half years straight.
Yes, that was significant.
We can't do this again.
Yeah.
Time come,
Yeah.
time come not to elect the PNP. Time come to tell those two parties that them time up. That and they won't go. They're gonna go peacefully.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah, you are right.
we
Oh,
we have to kick them out. So I have the plan. It's very simple. I've already done the work, my friends. I have built the manifesto for a new Jamaica, new system, new leadership, new Jamaica. I have told it all to you. I have fought and given you the UIC. It's here for you. Now all we have to do, we the people, not me, Joseph Patterson. Now we know 500,000 away. Register as a UIC member. 500,000 away. Volunteer to campaign for the UIC. 500,000 away. Ensure we elect 63 MPs and 500,000 away without a drop of blood. A peaceful revolution, a ballot box revolution will wrench our country out of their hands, take it back, and do away with the colonial constitution and set up a new Jamaica, a Jamaica that will protect the life, liberty, and property rights of every Jamaican equally, a Jamaica of equal opportunity, equal rights, and equal justice, a Jamaica where all of we can live, earn, and retire with dignity in our own country.
mhm. I really, really want to see you guys get that opportunity.
Not you guys, we.
I would love
Yeah,
to see. I would love to see you guys
we.
in that position.
Yeah,
To be
we.
honest with you, because given the history between these two parties, like I said, I'm very, I,
We the people.
I
We the
just
people.
don't, I just don't fully trust any of them.
No,
I don't trust one way more than the other. Currently what is going on right now is just easy to see that one that's in power is just cannot be trusted at all.
absolutely.
And then the other one, based off history, I'm like, I don't know.
But that's what they do to us,
So
Bolo. They got us. They have us in a game, right? The game is this: whatever the inspiration is. So one point is woman time now, inspiration. And we'll go out there
right.
and vote, bring her in. The next time, young people time now, bring him in. Next time, whatever. So the whole
They,
idea
they're,
is
they're using the KISS method. Keep it
yes,
simple.
yes. So now we are angry with Andrew. We're angry because him do
Mhm.
so much bad. But you vote him out and you're gonna vote in Mark now. Mark is no different. Mark is a creature of the system. He is he is a creature of what exists. And he will do nothing different from what the system that he's a part of says he should do. He might have a different style about it, but it will be the same outcome. So, my friends, let's not be fooled again. They have fooled us for 80 years straight. Once bitten, twice shy. We have been now 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. We've been bitten so many times. The time has come for us to be stopped bitten and let's bite back now. We must bite back. How the bite going sweet when we the people own our own party and the PSOJ sit down in the boardroom and I say, my God, we're losing control, people. We're losing control. We can't buy them anymore. We can't buy them anymore. They're free. They're free at last. They have now mentally unshackled themselves. They have now emancipated themselves from the mental slavery. The people them
Mhm.
free. We can't buy them because don't get me wrong, they will still have those they can buy. But guess what? It's only 30% they can buy. 70% of us have gotten
Yeah.
out of the system. So always say no, the 70% come back home now. Come home now. Now you have an
Yeah.
opportunity.
I'm in that 70% that has lost.
Yes.
I'm part of that 70. I really
Yeah.
am.
So now if the majority, because what we have now, are two parties and governments that are not legitimate.
Mm.
The current government only got 21% of the entire electorate.
That's wild. That's crazy.
21%. That means they do not have the support of 79% of the
Right,
nation.
right, right.
And the opposition party only got 16%. Them worse. And so we, the people now, the power is in our hands. But we have to get over the freeness mindset. We have to say, listen, it can't be politics as usual, where we're going to wait now for some Messiah to
And
come.
gold, yeah.
Yeah, and what I wanted is a Messiah. I don't want Joseph Patterson or some other Messiah to come and just make it happen. Miracle. There's no miracle here, people. The miracle is you.
It's gonna take
You
a lot of
have,
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to. No, it's not even about the work. All it takes is you just think I join. Just like I can go vote. You go vote and dip it ink in the finger and just vote. No, listen. I'm going to join the UIC. That's number one. I'm going to volunteer and tell other people about the UIC. Number two, and I'm going to donate my membership dues of $250 a week. That's the price of freedom. $250 a week. That's the price of freedom. That's the price of liberating us. That's the price of escaping the trap they have it in. They have us in $1,000 a month. 500,000 of us. We can have all the billboards in the world, all the pamphlets in the world, all the advertisement in the world. We can conquer social media. We can buy all the ads we need. We can provide transportation and lunch money and bus fare and whatever it is, data for our candidates to go on with their campaign team right across the constituency. But we can't do it without you. The PSOJ will never fund us, nor should they fund us, because we're not going to work for them. We
Someone
want to
asked
work for you.
where do you donate?
Oh, very simple. UICJamaica.com. Just go on the website and click on the button that says donate. UICJamaica.com. If you have any problems at all, just reach out to us to our number, 876-293-0812. And our treasurer, Miss Walker, or deputy treasurer, Miss Williams, or general secretary, Mrs. Ogart, somebody will be there to help you. But the bottom line is join, volunteer, and pay your dues. That's all. Minimum. Join, volunteer, and pay your dues. If we have 500,000 of us doing that, no PSOJ, no colonial masters can stop us. They would have to send an army into Jamaica to stop
Yeah.
us if we come together like this.
That's $500 million a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unstoppable. What we want to do shock and awe. In public, we're telling them our strategy here. In public, we're saying to the opposition, those who want to keep the system the way it is, we're saying to you, we're coming for you. And the way we're coming for you is the honest, decent, clean, straight way. You're not honest. You're not decent. You're not clean. You have lied to Jamaican people. You have deceived us, and you are destroying this nation. And we, the people, are going to rise up, not with a pitchfork, not with swords or guns like you have done in the past in your own endeavors. We are going to rise up with intellect. We're going to rise up with social responsibility. We're going to rise up and say, all we have to do is join this movement, volunteer to tell everybody about it, campaign for it in whatever way we can, and every single month we're going to give our little donation or little dues to make sure that every candidate that we have a solid chance in their constituency, and nobody can buy out the people, because we are going to have the funds to compete powerfully at every level.
Yeah. I mean, I wanna thank you for giving me this opportunity. Definitely learned a lot, and I guess my understanding of the mission of the UIC is definitely a little bit more clear. And I appreciate what you guys are looking to achieve, because because it's gonna be a collective effort. Like I say,
Absolutely.
500,000 need to join. I'm just going to join and pay my 121 time because
Absolutely.
for the year, because I got paid for the year and done. Because
We
that's a
can do
small
that.
amount of money. To be honest with you.
Yeah. It's
You
a
know.
small price to pay for freedom.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we're talking about freedom. When we talk about freedom, Mr. Bala, many people don't understand this, right? Carefully. We're not free right now. They decide what your kids learn in school. They
Yes.
so what? So
Yes.
so you're not free. It's like slavery.
Yes.
In slavery, back in the shackles days, they decide what you learn. Okay. Today, they control your school. They decide what you can use as medicine. They outlaw anything they don't want, and so they control your medicine. They control your food. They decide
Mm-hmm.
what is going to be allowed to be sold, and they can outlaw what they don't want to be sold. So if the small
Exactly.
man try to produce something, they can no, you don't meet the standards and whatever, and cut him out. So your medicine, your school, your food. They control your finances. They decide what you can invest in and what you can't, and who you can invest with. Did you know that? They
Yes.
control your investment. So they create schemes, and we're so ignorant. Like in the USA, they create, and Canada, no, they create retirement schemes and say this is what you can put your money in. So they have actually taken away your freedom to choose what you can put your money in. This is what we allow. This is what we permit.
It's all
Who can
about
advise
control.
you? Exactly.
Yeah.
The banking system. So we
Yeah, we
are.
have to talk about that in the next
Yeah.
interview. Yeah, we have to talk about
so
that in the
so
next.
we're slaves right now while thinking we're free. And the UIC want to truly liberate we. We want
Yep.
we want to unite the people, no more partisan divisive politics. We want to liberate the people by making sure you understand this and we overcome them. And we want to empower the people. Knowledge, especially when applied, is true power. And that's what we want. Not the fake power about PNP and shower. What we want is true power where the man and the woman in the streets are empowered over their own lives with bodily autonomy, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of association, and freedom of choice, and have a system that protects their sovereignty and our collective sovereignty. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a good
Yeah,
night. Until next time.
yeah, man.
All
Respect,
the
Mr.
best.
Patterson. And
You
big
have to
up to the
lock. Somebody has
platform,
to
man.
lock off for me because I can't lock off.
Yeah.
So I hope whoever is behind the scene can lock us off because I'm not in the mainframe. So, Mr. Nelson, if you're there, or whoever is
Not
in the
so tech
backstage,
savvy. Big
yeah,
up yourself. All right. Look
no
on.
problem. No, I'm tech savvy, but I can't do it because I'm not in the.
Oh
I
yeah,
only,
you're not in the
yeah,
system, right? I got
right.
you. I
I
got
came
you. I
on as
got
a guest, because I couldn't
you.
get back in. So
Right.
hopefully, Mr. Nelson, whoever is backstage, please go ahead and close us out. Thank you so much. Otherwise.